Another chapter reaction with the TLA arc or chapter stream, whatever wording you prefer. So with us today, we have got some great guests. We have first of all, Joshua Vykthor. Say hey to the people, man.
Yo, what's up? What's cooking?
Yeah. And we have someone very big in the TLA team, and that is, it is Smokey himself, Grand Line Bound. What's up, my brother?
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up, man? I'm just hanging out, man. Having a good time. Let's go.
Let's go, let's go. And obviously, we've got the queen of pirates herself, the future queen, who will even surpass everything that the main story will do, and that is her name, herself. Her name is 3-Day Trip.
Hello, guys. I'm just here for it, and I want to actually talk about Snooky's theory earlier too. If we can get to that.
Oh, that'd be cool. Thanks,
That
Tweet.
was so spicy.
Yeah, and we have with us a special guest, the former handmaiden of the former Shishibukai, Mihawk himself. We've got Nak. What's up, bro?
Oh, you're not supposed to tell people about my background, bro.
Doxed. You doxed him, dude. Fuck you. Better than that.
Yo. Yo.
And
Let's
then I
go.
wanted a funny twist. It was either that or you're a pacifista. Give you emotions.
No comment on that last one.
Yeah. So, before anything, we are indeed going to talk about chapter
Wait,
1117.
you didn't introduce Dexter.
Yeah, you
man.
forgot
Oh yeah,
that.
Dexter!
John.
Oh, Dexter!
Come on.
And
You,
I just
John.
died in the background.
No,
Dexter,
of course.
get him.
Yo, Dexter! Tell people because Dexter is the Wizard of Oz. You
He
might
He
not
is
see
the
him,
wizard,
but
that's for
you'll see
sure.
some of his
He's the
some
wizard.
of his work. So yeah, tell them where
Yeah,
they
you can
go.
find my work in different places. I have worked for a couple different content creators that do One Piece YouTube stuff and working on some new projects with some people. It's gonna be interesting. So keep an eye out.
You're like Mickey Mouse from Fantasia. Like that's how crazy and powerful.
Exactly. You know what? That's actually him. Yes, he's the
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse from Fantasia. That is a good call, Smokey.
He was summoning waves and mountains. Like doing his thing.
Exactly. So yeah, so
Yeah.
for everyone, we are indeed talking about chapter title Mo. So not to spoil anyone, in case you're on the wrong stream. We know you're not on the wrong stream, but you never know, And
never
if there is any person associated with like 5 Elder Stars, or one mysterious figure in Marijoa, we're not talking about One Piece. No, we're talking about One Piece. So no worries.
Okay.
So yeah. So honestly, let's start it up with what I think is, while I let the chat start spitting spitting. Let's talk about first this cover story. So how did you guys like the cover story?
Dude, I'm loving the Yamato cover story. Like her whole the whole pilgrimage or whatever. It's awesome. It's awesome. I wonder who she's see next. Like, my guess, like if you guys. Oh, first I want to ask you guys if you guys had a guess who would Yamato see next. Who would it be in the cover page in her little pilgrimage? I have a guess. I want to see. I want to see you guys.
If I remember correctly, we saw a map of how she were gonna travel around Wano, didn't we?
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
could
yeah.
go off that and then kind of predict where she. So she starts at the flower capital, and then goes to Udon prison.
Yeah, she circles
So
her
she
way
must be on the
around.
way there.
Yeah. No, it's cool. You get to see Nekomamushi and I can never say that old man's name, but
Hyuguro.
Hyuguro.
Hyuguro. Such a G, man.
Yeah, no. It's nice to see everybody touching him, but it's a little soon. I'm still expecting something big happening in this cover story. Blackbeard,
Like,
specifically.
oh, that's spicy. Like, what do you mean? You see Blackbeard in Wano?
Coming to Wano, yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
That'd
like
be
things
awesome.
predicted.
Yeah.
the cover story's got to be going somewhere big, I think. So yeah, Blackbeard's gonna show up and come after Pluton probably with the guy they probably picked up on Egghead.
Yeah.
Caribou.
Caribou.
Caribou,
always
yeah.
Yeah.
I've always said that people are scared of. I've heard people being scared of Yamato. If that's the case, I've always said that. What I'm really scared is when Luffy said we'll definitely meet up again. He was looking at Kinemon, and he is quite of a complete story. He's achieved everything in life, you know. You know what happens in One Piece when you reach a plateau in your story.
This is
What's
true.
like let's say this is true, right? Let's say Blackbeard goes to Wano, and let's say he does get Pluton. Would that mean that the Straw Hats would have to go back, or would they be split? Would they split up and say, "Hey, no, you guys handle Pluton"? Like, how would that happen? What do you guys see that playing out?
Yeah,
Because that is kind of spicy.
first of all, I don't think the Straw Hats are gonna return to Wano for now.
Right.
Because yeah, why would backtrack right now in the story? We're almost at the end.
Yeah.
See, if it plays out like I'm thinking, Blackbeard's going to get it. There's no point of coming back to Wano because Blackbeard's not going to
Right.
be there.
It's gonna be like a swipe. He's just gonna take it and go. It's not gonna be really
I
any.
think and I think we might get how the YB pirate needed to react with Wano. I'd always said that Momo will never leave Wano, and Oda has made this big hint that both Odin's will is shared by Yamato and Momo. I do feel like, you know how Ace was supposed to listen to his crew, he didn't, and he left on his own. I think at this time Yamato will come in the honor of Wano to avenge whatever happened. And then join up the crew at that time. So there will be no point of bringing Luffy to Wano because Wano will go to Luffy.
Right. And
Yeah.
then what happens with Big Mom and Kaido? Like, there's a lot that could happen in
Yeah.
Wano.
This is why I'm talking with Neck always about this, about Kaido's return to Wano. He's gonna come back and protect Wano this time.
Yeah.
Wow, that'd be super dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like his Everfoot was described to be a guardian deity of Wano.
Right,
that
right.
that will be the last step of awakening his fruit to protect Wano to fulfill the Everfoot's will.
Yeah. And the real life, like, Azure Dragon was known to protect the lands and the riverways. So, like,
Right.
full twist for Kaido to be protect Wano and awaken in the process because he aligns with the will of the fruit.
Joining his daughter and protecting Wano because Yamato's
Yeah.
Everfruit, right?
Yeah,
That'd
and
be
I
so
don't think
cool.
he'd like be a big part of the story going forward after that. Like probably be his last fight, but I definitely see it happening.
I would love to see Yamato turn into a food dog at one point. That'd be so cool. Like
What?
her, a food dog. That's a protect like you know those like in Chinese. They're the big statues that you see in
Oh yeah.
Chinese, like the big old dogs with the.
I heard food dog. I thought you meant like become food.
Food,
I
yeah,
was
that's all I heard. Like a food
Is
dog.
that a
Hot
dog?
dog? Are we talking about DQ, Red?
The greasy
No,
gobbler.
a food dog. Oh shoot! I'll be back, guys. Boys waking
Oh
up.
yeah,
Oh.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's an
Well-
interesting thought.
Yeah, it's interesting where it's gonna go.
Coming in from the sideline, what would happen if Momo ate Kaido's fruit? Because would he ever be able to awaken with a replicated fruit?
Yeah, I believe so. The only thing is that Momo is not strong enough to awaken the fruit.
Yeah,
Like-
possibly that.
That would be
Yeah,
an
like-
interesting twist though if Momo was the one to awaken as the guardian. But it's more so I tie it back to the actual legend of the Azure Dragon and Momo's the pink
Yeah.
dragon. So I'm not
That's
sure.
kind of my whole deal with like Kaido was the one with the original Azure Dragon fruit,
Yeah.
and he didn't protect Wano.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's also this big thing. Obviously, it's not accurate as well, but we know that something must have been protecting Wano before the whole Odin stuff from the outside world, because I don't think Wano was just isolated like that. And as manga, we've seen certain themes with the Wano stuff with the people who are connected to Rock's pirates. So it could be that back in the day when the Rock stuff, there was stuff about Wano. And that's why Kaido needed that fruit, because the way Big Mom says it is that it doesn't seem that Kaido was looking for that specific fruit. The way Big Mom says it, I'm the one who gave you your power. And then he does the same thing for for his daughter / son Yamato, where he
Mhm.
purposely looks for that fruit, and then he says his guardian deity of Wano, giving them a right to whatever the Kaido
No.
wants to do.
The Kaido didn't even want to give Yamato the fruit. Yamato just found the fruit and ate it.
Mhm.
It wasn't Yamato. Okay, it sounded like he said, "I'm the one who gave you your power" as well. He said
But
that
he
too. That's what he
wanted
said too.
no. Kaido wanted the fruit. He just didn't want Yamato to be the one to eat it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had the fruit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that makes it a bit more interesting, the fact that Yamato took upon himself or herself to eat the fruit.
It's
But I
all
always
battle
wondered
on
if there
wills.
was during the Rocks time, that's how he got there was something about Wano, which proved to that he needed to become their guardian deity, but he just doesn't get what it means to be a guardian deity.
Or more like the fruit chose Yamato because in the future she will become Odin-like figure. But also Yamato was starved as a children, so maybe any fruit could be a good fruit.
Yeah, as well. But yeah.
So we
Well,
got to
that's
see
it.
Geen and Don Krieg this chapter. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
It was cool. I like his new hairstyle.
Yeah, I am super impressed with it. I think he's I think he's super badass. We're gonna see something cool from him. Everybody else
And
from
why
the
does
East Blue
Geen
got a
have a
glow up.
sword?
It's a good question. I'm not
It
gonna.
could be his spear, guys. It could be his spear. Remember, his weapon of choice was a spear. Just
Who?
it doesn't look like a sword. But it could be just the handle of his spear.
Oh, Geen or Don Krieg,
Weird.
yeah.
Geen. Okay.
Oh yeah, Geen.
Sure.
Geen has a
Geen has a
sword.
sword.
Geen has a
Yeah,
saber, yeah. Which
He
is
was
an odd
destroyed.
choice, but it's not that odd of a choice.
Traumatized by Mihawk.
Yeah, he picked up the sword after seeing Zora Mihawk duel.
So the reason why I don't because people are talking about what if it's not Don Krieg or Geen, and trying to add a deeper level to it. I just don't see the reason why Pearl would be in the picture if it wasn't Don Krieg and Geen.
No.
And there's pretty much Don Krieg's Jolly Roger on the shoulder, so.
Yeah, we get some more revelations, some nice deep sea panels again with some more architecture I really need to study because everything under the water seems to be built by the same people. That would align with what we were thinking anyway, but even more so with some of the places we see above water, these buildings are really similar.
Mm-hmm. It's
we also.
Yeah, no, go.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say we also see cricket.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
They're ready to go find everything. No, it was these chapters, these 10 out of 10s, they can't keep going like this. We're on the come down now, and I'm worried about where we go with here. Worried for the Straw Hats, I should say. I'm not worried about the story.
Yeah, honestly, it's it's very interesting, this whole because it's interesting on what one person said about that all the treasures 200 meters deep, and I'm wondering if that's what's alluding with the One Piece, because he did say at one point it's power, fame, and everything. Maybe what if the One Piece also enables to reduce some of the water and all those treasures just being found again.
Dude, you guys been cooking, man. You guys been cooking. The Knack. I like what Knack said.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Obviously, Cricket, your boy, saying it sounds romantic. He had to drop that. I love that of Cricket.
Oh yeah, he's my God, what an awesome character. I'm really interested though. Do you think we'll get more reactions to these people during the battles? Because everybody's having almost celebratory reactions, and it's not really something to celebrate once the world starts going to shit. Do you think we'll keep getting these shots around the world?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point, dude. Because they just found out the world is ending, kind of, and there was yay, there might be treasure underwater.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a win for us.
So
Yes,
like,
it's the whole
I'm
concept.
asking, like, do you think the pacing is going to be a lot more like this, where we get, instead of just a linear journey of the Straw Hats, we're going to get a lot more broken up sagas and seeing a lot more angles of this?
I've always
definitely,
said
Yeah.
definitely.
the best times in One Piece, the pacing of it was between arriving to Reverse Mountain to just before the whole after Water 7 and its lobby, after Shula Bar,
Yeah,
because then it goes
yeah,
it's a whole different style of writing. It was
definitely.
fast paced, different stuff. Like there was so much. Like think of arcs like even Amazon Lily, that was such a short arc, or even Impel Down is not that big arc, but there's so much happening in that brief amount of time. I see a lot of arcs both time skip, like Wano and Dressrosa. There are a lot of chapters where it was just them just exploring with nothing more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it gave us the idea of this world. You know what I mean? And now it's giving us the conclusion. So we had to see everything to take it all in, and now we're gonna see how it changes.
Yeah, like what you've said. I've said this before. It's the One Piece story is changing in a way where it's almost like a tournament arc.
Mm-hmm.
Before One Piece was just straight up the Straw Hats, right? It was Straw
Mhm.
Hats,
Mhm.
and what somebody would join them, a carrot, law, whatever, but it would be a certain Straw Hat centric. But now we're seeing Law, we're seeing Kid, we're seeing Blackbeard, we're seeing Wapple, Vivi, Cross Guild.
Yeah.
It's a tournament arc where essentially it's multifaceted chess game where we're gonna see multi type of different views. We have to in a way. We're gonna have to because this is the way that's the kind of the story that Otis painted is like all these
Exactly.
factions and all these groups are
Coming
coming.
together.
Oh, Rebs also, you know what I mean? Like we
Yeah.
might even see Neomads come up in here.
Global
The
scale.
Holy
Yeah.
Knight. It's just gonna be crazy. Where it's just gonna be like a plate of spaghetti. Kind of. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait. I really can't wait. So yeah, to answer your question, definitely. I
So
really do.
can we talk about did Oda just reveal to us? And if I'm not mistaken, Kujaku, that's
That's
Suru's
Sauru's
granddaughter, right?
granddaughter. Yep. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Oda has just revealed to us that this era's Garp, Sengoku, Suru is Kobe, Prince Groose, and Kujaku. The way they're talking to
Yeah.
one another, and now
Oh
saying it's our
yeah.
turn to step
I
up.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I think he's
same
announced it
type
in
of
New
way.
Era. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, definitely Kobe, and yeah, and like
No.
Kujaku is up
Yeah.
there.
I mean, Prince Groose, for some reason, he's being shown a lot, so he's there trying to make him also one of the shot callers, at least of sort, because
Yeah.
They're.
Yeah.
It seems like they respect his guidance because everyone's telling him like, how do you think this is gonna play out? Like they're
yeah.
speaking to him. It's hard to keep up with
Uh,
this. I just saw the captain. They're all directing their info towards him and waiting for his response.
Hmm. What's interesting is how there's that people who think that that guy with that beak hat, Momora from the Whitebeard Pirates, might be Morgan or connection to Morgan because of that thing. I never realized until this chapter that Prince Groose has almost the same hat as him. That
oh,
long beak
Oh,
hat, like a bird.
That's an
sick.
interesting idea. I want to know who Morgan's is so bad. I'm not going to
Oh
commit
yeah.
to anything yet, though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Morgan, honestly, he can be he's literally the Wizard of Oz. Who is he? Who is truly the man behind the curtain? We don't know.
How old
All
was
we
he
see is a
again
bird.
when he reported on the God Valley incident?
Like
Right.
15 years old, man. Come
15
on.
years old, and he knew all that. Like we
Right.
got that's a question that needs to be answered right there.
Yeah.
I can't
So
remember who I saw say it, but I remember I saw someone mention that it might have been Morgan as asking Roger where he hid his treasure.
Hey,
Hmm.
Cube, I have a question for you since you're into a lot of this spice. So you know how we have theories. We've been on VC. We have theories about Kong, right, and how he
hmm
was basically above, Garp and them, the three, Garp, Saru, and Sengoku. Do you think that Morgan possibly had somebody above him that kind of put him in his position.
I mean,
'Cause that is
at
a
least
very
he
powerful
had
position
someone
to
who
be put
guided
in.
him, because I don't think at 15 years old he's able to understand. Like, yeah, I need to have an adult who kind of at least guide him on how the world works.
Yeah, exactly.
Teaching
That's what
him,
I.
what to write so that he doesn't. Because I do agree, at his age, 53 years old, leaking information about the Gorsei, he knows exactly what to write to be able to tell the truth, but not have all the target on his head.
Right.
But at 15 it's tough, so it does seem that he must have had someone who was older.
That's where my head is at too, kind of, because like that is where his position in the world is like uber powerful, like utterly powerful, right? Where it's like he can sway the whole narrative of every event. So it's like,
Exactly.
how did he get there? How did he put him in that position? Or even, or if so, how did he get to that position? That would be even crazier to me. Like, what did you do to climb up the ranks to be put in there? But yeah, Morgan is very like him and Wapple, and I love how they're
Yeah.
both together. But him and Wapple are very mysterious in the world.
Yeah. So I have just to ask,
Well-
because you know how we were always wondering what happened to X Drake. Now we saw him return.
Mm-hmm.
With he didn't have he was healed up when he left Wano, and now he has wounds.
Yeah,
And the next, he look out the window. The next panel, who do we see returning in the story? Smoker.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think that X Drake was a smoker before
I do.
whatever happened to them?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Most certainly.
Let's
Yeah,
hear
I
it.
Most
have-
certainly.
I got a little
Most
head
certainly.
canon for what happened with Smoker too, but I'd like to hear your ideas.
Oh no, spit! I love Smoke. He's like one of my favorite characters in the story, so I want to hear this.
As soon as someone pointed out that it looks like he has a cube behind him, I thought of when he made the call and said he's going to see Vegapunk, and that
Yeah,
Vegapunk knew the government was coming and that Egghead could be destroyed, and sent Smoker away with the poneglyph he had from either O'Hara or another source. And that's the poneglyph on his bike right there. And he left the Egghead Island recently. Nothing crazy. It's just a little line of events.
nothing crazy. Just Smoker carrying a poneglyph.
But
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say.
can make it even more crazy because we know Vegapunk got information from other sources than just what the research of O'Hara had, because he was able to put together a lot more of the puzzle. So what if that's actually the poneglyph that told him the information of Joy Boy, like the battle and like the main
Well, I'll put it like
plot?
this: like, if anybody can carry a poneglyph, it could be him with his smoking, like his smoke powers or something like that.
Yeah, from the two panels we got to see the box and Smoker. I don't think he's big enough to be a poneglyph.
Yeah, it's not big enough. That's the thing. Like, but even if you say it's really submerged,
Well, it's in the
if you look the
distance.
top part of it, it's even the length of it is not even long enough.
There's an X on
They
it
use-
too, which is odd.
Yeah. X Drake.
X Drake. What if X Drake is in that box?
Dude, imagine that's actually the inside of the hospital that we're seeing X Drake from as a joke.
Man.
You think he's in the other room as everyone else, but he's
A little
already somewhere else.
container.
Yeah,
We got a
container.
super chat over here if anybody wants to read it out.
Sure.
QB, do the
Oh, yeah,
honor.
get up. Appreciate it, man. Mr. Bushido, a €5 super chat. Don Kring and Gin in the chat were fakes. They were actually Shanks and Building Snake infiltrating 2 and 2 Garp to get him away from Blackbeard. Smoker
fine.
for Nakama.
Yeah,
Carrot.
Smoker for Nakama, and I agree. Smoker for Nakama, man, because he is big.
So if that was all I gotta say, like if that was Shanks and what is his name, Building Snake, why was Pearl there? Is that just a little dig
and
at the
also-
readers to take us off course?
And
That's
also
all-
the
that's
Don
all.
Creek Jolly Roger on the shoulder as well as a.
Well, you have to have the Jolly Roger. That's the best disguise. Come on now, Cube. You're not gonna not have a Jolly Roger. You know.
And also, why would Shanks infiltrate that island?
Yeah.
He was just leaving with an entire
Yeah.
fleet.
Shanks has been chasing Blackbeard around too for a while, so like if he could just infiltrate the island, I think he would have an easier time doing that.
Yeah.
Where do you think
Exactly.
we're gonna see or I shouldn't say Blackbeard next, but like Blackbeard's crew next, because like they're all split up all over the place. Blackbeard was at Winter Island, Katarina and Van Auger were at Egghead. Do you think Sphinx is going to have some Blackbeard pirates show up?
If the theories is correct, then they're all probably gonna rendezvous at Wano, right? That would have to be the thing. Maybe
The thing with Blackbeard, I think he wouldn't send everybody.
You mean Elbaf, right? Why
Yeah.
Wano? You mean Elbaf?
Yeah, it would be all hands at
for
Elbaf.
Pluton.
Oh, for Pluton. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I see what you mean.
Oh, okay. But I think Pizarro and Blackbeard would get Pluton if they really tried.
They're gonna blitzkrieg Wano, and they're gonna be like, "Yo, we need that." But I don't know.
Honestly,
that's crazy. You don't know what these guys.
But I do think they might not meet up with the Blackbeard pirates, but they might interact in one arc, in one of the two next arc with one Blackbeard pirate. Because if you think about it, the first Blackbeard pirate we ever got was Lafitte. Because the Oda box started when Lafitte went to see the Marines.
Yep.
So it would be logical that the first Blackbeard pirate that they interact might be the one that we know is not with the crew. Lafitte.
So we need to do a head count, because like we can't go by what we've seen on Hachinosu this whole time, because like we've already seen that Kube and them are back from Hachinosu and healing. So like we know 2 of them were just at Egghead and are gone. Actually, we don't know if they're gone yet, but we know 2 of them were just at Winter Island. And we know what else? What else can we confirm? Because like there's a lot of missing pieces here.
No, I think we saw everyone except Lafitte.
Yeah.
Everybody, exactly. We've seen everybody, the whereabouts of everybody except Lafitte.
Okay.
Like not even in.
Last time we saw Lafitte was around the time of Dressrosa when we saw quickly Shiryu, but then no more. And though the timeline doesn't fit, the only one who has never been ever since the end of Wano has happened is Lafitte.
And he's a true infiltrator too, so it's like
he's a sneaky boy.
Yeah. He's a sneaky boy, man. Him and Katarina.
We've got another super chat, guys, from Mr. Bushido, €2. Lost team with guild attacks Wano for Pluton.
Cross guild. A lot of teams with cross guild goes for Wano. Attacks Wano for Pluton. Possibly. Cross guild needs to go to Impel Down, though. I think they need to get involved with that again.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, why would Law attack Wano?
Yeah, and
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it.
I think Law right now.
That's Luffy's territory now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can judge Law's ambitions or motivations right now. He just wants more information. If Blackbeard can give him all the answers, I don't know what Law would do, to be honest with you. But I don't see the Cross Guild going for Wano. I see Crocodile going for Pluton, though.
The problem also with Law is the same problem that we have with Kid right now. I think they have more stuff pressing, like surviving.
Let me tinker on that, because that's it. So what Bushido said, I don't agree. I agree that he wouldn't attack Wano, but here's the thing. Here's what's logical. How it could fit. What if he intercepts Blackbeard? What if he finds out Blackbeard is going to Pluton? He's like, I want to get my revenge back, and I could see Crossfield, because once Croc finds out Pluton is there, he's always has this obsession with Pluton. So I could see them intercepting, right? That's a little bit more logical. That would be kind of spicy if they're like, oh hell no, and they're like, let's go to Wano and like team up and take them out, or try. I don't know how that would play out though. That would still be super spicy to see them like. I don't know. That's a little bit where my head is at. Like that's more logical. I'm with you guys. I don't see Law attacking Wano. That's Luffy's territory. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I mean, it's not even that bothers me, because the story could change. Like something that I found out where we had that many times, but Kid and Law recently, not even recently, like really recently, because it hasn't been much since where things were going. They took big L's. There's
yeah.
Like I think right now they need to heal up a bit.
Lick their wounds a bit.
Yeah.
Another super chat from Bushido over here on the side. Thank you very much. But he's saying Blackbeard crew goes for Shirahoshi and Cross.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Oh, that's funny.
Thank you for the
That's
super
funny.
chat. Josh does not like your comments.
No, I'm saying that at the end of the day, I see Blackbeard getting his hands on Pluton, and the Mets would need an ancient weapon of their own, and the perfect one would be Shihoshi, a ancient weapon that
Yeah.
literally befriended.
I do see the plot line though where Blackbeard could go for Shirahoshi in the sense that like if Katarina Devam was to copy Luffy and attack Fishman Island, that would kind of finish the
But
prophecy
also,
as well, right?
yeah, it
Like,
would be destroyed by the Sea Kings because Shihoshi would just cry and
yeah,
everything
it's
would be
over.
destroyed.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, I could see Blackbeard, knowing now that he knows about Poseidon. I think he'll be smart about it. He'll find a way to get the HU weapon by getting it out because he'll never go in. You know what I mean? He's always smart. He makes long plans. He might create a
Uh-huh.
situation where Shiroshi is outside of the island, the territory as well.
Very true. He's very like. Well, I'll say like this too. Any theory that involves Blackbeard going after any ancient weapon has a little bit of credence, no matter how far fetched it is. And
The
the same thing
groundwork's
with
been laid
Crocodile
for
going after.
both.
Right, and yeah, exactly. And then the same thing goes for Crocodile going after Pluton.
Well, that
Um,
panel where Crocodile reacts to announcing about the announcement of Pluton, like I can see him
right.
wanting it. The problem is he needs the information because he has no more information than he did back in Alabasta about ours. So
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts, though. I feel like we've been talking. I've been talking a lot about Alabasta and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, Brock.
And I still feel
it's a
like
great arc. It'll keep
Blackbeard
coming
is
up.
being misled by some people, not himself, but people have been guiding him to the wrong path. That I just find very interesting is that Law, who is the most, we've always had those sus stuff with either Marines or Rev on how his plan works so well with them. He literally forces two choices for both Luffy and Kid, and he takes the one path, and Blackbeard attacks the one person who could survive his attack because he's a submarine.
Right.
Like, it's very odd that of all people, it was the worst matchup for Blackbeard for a naval battle.
And he had intel, but he didn't have up-to-date intel. He had intel from
Yeah.
before Wano. That's very interesting because he said, I wasn't told you could do this when La was using his awakening, but everybody in the battle knew what La could awaken his fruit.
Well, it's crazy that both Law and Kid's crew lost their ships. Like, Law lost the Polar Tank, and then Kid lost the Victoria Punk. So it's like, I was really genuinely scared for the Sunny. Maybe not like of it getting destroyed, but it like
Can we
getting.
pivot to that because I have a feeling of dread about the whole situation on Egghead. The Sunny has to go. All the ships underneath it. The giant ship seems to be in utter chaos. 2 holes in the hull. The figurehead has
Wait,
been cut
you think
off.
something's gonna happen to the Sunny? No way. I don't think so.
No, not the Sunny. I don't. I think something's going to happen where the crew has to leave right now, and people are going to be
Mm-hmm.
left behind.
Yeah, we were talking about that too. We were like given a timeline on how long this chapter is, and I always said maybe 5 at max, but
Yeah.
it's kind of looking like they're gonna get out of there sooner than later. Now that the
Specifically,
broadcast.
I'm worried about Luffy, Dory, and Bragi because the giant ship is toast.
Yes. Yeah,
That's
that is
like,
true, right?
I really could see how they escaped from Water 7. Because just before they used the Kudo burst, Usopp wasn't on the island, did his apology. Luffy stretched his arm to grab onto him. He got onto the ship. And when Garp was chasing them, Kudo burst, and they just skyrocketed away from there. And this is how they found themselves in the Solar Bark area.
And I need some apologies. I forget who it was in the VC, but I really was asking people, like, do you think the Straw Hats are going to get separated? And everybody's like, no, no. And I'm like, why wouldn't they, dude? That's just so One Piece of them getting separated and then meeting back on the island, on the next island. Like, they're going to get split up, where it's like Luffy's going to stay behind, Zoro, Dory, Broggy, maybe Jinbei, I don't know. And the other ones are going to go to Albath or something. Like, it's going to be
That's
crazy.
totally a
Like,
possibility. But even more wild, what if Luffy like becomes a giant in Gear 5 and he replaces the role of Vega Force 1 and he carries the Sunny over the fleet of ships?
That'd be so
Like,
sick.
you guys go
the
ahead.
ancient robot was gonna do that.
I'll help these guys try to fight off everybody. You guys go ahead, kind of deal. And
That's
I don't
sick.
see the Giants leaving here. No, like not Dorian Bragi specifically, but the ancient warrior giants, like
There's
Nah,
also
he's staying
another.
on the island.
the
There's also
old
another
warrior
option I
giants.
just realized, because we've seen that many times in that person, and we don't know if that clone has the same ambition as well, but had big hopes for Luffy, who was willing to do anything for him. What if S-Bear or what's left of Kuma uses their power to send the remaining on the ship? Because that's how they got also to Egghead. They use
Uh-huh.
S-Bear.
Yeah,
So it could
that's
be the same
true.
thing, like S-Bear or even what's left of Kuma, he grabs onto Luffy, pop,
Hmm.
sends him
Yeah,
on
because
the people.
they're about to. We don't know if they're exactly free from the bubbles, but they're loose in a
Yeah.
sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
We seen
Yeah.
that snake if she was still in the
Mm-hmm.
bubble, but that is a good thing. I didn't. That's a good one, Keep. I did not think of that
I just
perspective.
thought of it when you guys were talking about how they would get on the ship. I
Yeah,
said, and in my mind, I said, well, the only fruit that would work then is
yeah.
Kuma's fruit. And I realized, oh shit, there are two versions of Kuma's fruit on that island.
Uh-huh. That is so.
And
That is
like
sick, man.
with the giants, we're seeing like Bushido asked about Dahl. Like Dahl literally just wrecked Kashi, like wrecked him.
Uh-huh. Dude,
And
That
dude,
girl.
what would be a better, more
dude.
fitting end for a giant to like defend the crew of the
Yeah.
sun god as they escape and begin the dawn of the world? Like this is what they've been waiting for. They will have no reservation about staying behind on the island and fighting till their death to make sure that the
Dude,
crew gets away.
Yeah.
dude, real quick.
Wait.
Oh yeah, we got a super chat. Go ahead, Cyber.
No, just I was gonna add, and I'm gonna read the super chat. I'm gonna add. This also could be another a parallel or a better version of what happened to Sabaudi. Instead of Kuma's fruit using to separate the crew, he uses fruit to keep the crew together.
Mm.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
Came to mind.
And it
Read the
would be
super
a
chat because
beautiful
I got
moment.
something to add.
Yeah.
I got something
So
to add
I
to that doll
believe.
thing.
Okay, so €2 super chat from Mr. Bushido. Again, thank you, bro. I
Yeah,
believe Zoe
thank you,
comes to
dude.
save them and Carrot returns. I think he talks about the law stuff.
Carrot?
No,
I don't know.
the
I
egghead
don't.
stuff.
What's
No,
carrot?
the
What?
meek. He means
What's
he
this
means the
carrot
meek.
stuff?
He means the meeks are gonna come back.
Yeah.
We did see Nekomamushi in the cover page.
Is Carrot the name of that rabbit that thought it was a cat back in Water 7? What's Carrot?
No, Carrot is
Carrot.
Yeah, what's carrot?
the future Straw Hat of the Demaro Black Pirates.
Oh yeah. The fixed head.
Yeah.
No, but what I was gonna say about
Also,
hold on. I was gonna say about the doll thing is like, first off, super hype for her, right? Because like
Yeah,
her commander was
impressive.
Jaguar D. Stall, so it's like I'm pretty sure he taught her something about giants, or it's like a weak point, or how they fight, or something. Because she, like you said, she pummeled him, bro,
She bodied him.
smoked him.
Yeah.
It was like I hope that's a little callback to Saul in a way, like maybe he taught her something. Like I don't know, that's just maybe headcanon, but I think that'd be so sick.
Well, me and
But go ahead.
Josh were talking earlier, and it's like the difference between some vice admirals, like the levels, is insane because you got people like
Yeah.
Garp, and then you got that fella that got one shot by Frankie, and then you got like people like Red King and you know Mamunga.
Mamunga. Oh yeah, you got Mamunga.
I
You
mean,
got Hina and
with
all them.
that point, it actually makes sense when you found out what is the whole point of becoming admiral. It's only politics.
That's it.
There's no
And there's
feats
only three,
whatsoever,
right?
admiral.
Like so,
Yeah,
Josh
there's
was
only three,
pointed
and they
out.
kind of explained it. When
If you don't become an admiral, you could be stronger than a. You could be a vice admiral that's on the level of an admiral and just never chose to be it.
Because basically, when he explains that the only reason why Gardner became an admiral was because of politics, it makes sense that that's why the vice admiral position is such a spectrum. Because you might have people like Tsuru and Garp, or maybe not Momonga might not be at the same level,
Right.
but maybe at a time he had the level to become admiral, but he had such strong values that he also refused.
They just didn't want it, bro. And that's one thing kind of like I hate about power scaling is because people focus on feats or what they've done. It's like
Ranks
ranks or what
or
they've done, how many people,
titles.
crowds of people they've taken out, who they taken out. It's like that's not necessarily how it goes, man. A lot of people just don't have a mentality like to fight everybody, or a lot of people pick and choose who they fight, or it's not like that at all. So and like exactly what you guys said, like it's their mentality too and how they go about it. It doesn't mean that they're less stronger than somebody just because
Well,
they
some of
fight
these,
everybody across.
not I didn't mean to cut you off there, but jump in.
No,
Some of
go
these
brother.
vice admirals are definitely going to be like a part of the new regime when all this is said and done.
Bluegrass.
Yeah. I mean, and most
Bluegrass
likely
is
we
sick
know
with
that
it,
the
man.
reason why Sword hits stronger and people who are affiliated to Sword hit stronger than most Marine, it could be also that they believe what they're fighting for, while most Marines are forced to do
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing. You know, they don't
Can
have the
I
same
can I
will.
propose a theory real quick?
Sure.
Or just a quick one. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be the first to say I haven't heard this anywhere. Do you think Bluegrass, with her ability, hops on the Iron Giant and controls it, or you think the Gorosei wipe it out? What if they like preserve it in a way? Because NoChillDill, even though he's fighting Zoro right now, he does have the ability to pacify robots or machine, like how he did with the pacifistas, right? Maybe Oda showed us that for a reason. That could explain how they pacify the Iron Giant somehow, and then they use Bluegrass to control it or something. I don't know. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I could see something. I mean, it would be logical if they're able to deactivate if it's just an empty vessel.
I'm
Because
not
but
And
my thing is
giving
like,
up on the
why is Oda
giant yet.
showing us all these? Oh, what was that? Sorry,
I'm
that.
not giving up on the giant yet.
Me
yeah,
neither. That I mean, fact.
yeah,
I'm just saying,
of
like,
course,
why
of
is
course.
Oda showing us all these particular
Yeah.
sets of ability? Why is he showing
Mm-hmm.
Shoto doing that? Because he could easily destroyed all the pacifistas, right? He's showing that he could
Yeah.
pacify them, and like Bluegrass happens, and they show her take a control of the sea beast. Like Oda doesn't have to show us that. He's doing that for a reason. Maybe
Also,
that I don't know. That'd be crazy.
yeah, and there's just before we change from the doll subject, before forgetting that,
Mm-hmm.
you know how I am my big agenda of the whole God Valley incident. The only people we've
Massive
seen
agenda.
that have the theme that either is punk rock or rock and roll and those kind of fun has either been someone who's affiliated or was a member of Mads, or was affiliated or was a member of the Rocks Pirates. There's always those stuff, and the fact that Doll, who was very chummy with Garp before they both went to their missions, and is also a student of Saul, I am really thinking that Doll might have an interesting background.
Me too.
Oh,
It
for
might be like
sure.
Yeah.
Thousand
her
percent.
connection to Garp might go as far back as Kuzan does.
1000%, brother. The
Yeah,
moment she said Saul was her commander, I said, "Oh, she's gonna be an important character.
yeah,
She's
And
not just cannon fodder Marine."
the thing with her though, like a lot of the characters that seem to be like have their goals aligned with the world government have like references to dogs in their name. So like I'm wondering now if
Mm,
she's gonna be like one of those people who is like hard and true, sticks with the world government, like a dog of the machine kind of thing. You know what I mean?
yeah. Lapdog.
She
yeah.
seems tough though, like
It's
you
so like
said.
Oda to play with words like that and kind of have the characters fit
Have you
the
heard the idea of
concept.
it? Because there's an idea that everyone that references a bird, every marine that references a bird in their name will be with the ones that defect, and all the ones that reference a dog will be the ones that stick to it.
Oh,
But
that's fire, dude.
but you
That
want to
is
hear something
fire.
interesting? The and it's part of my fear of Garp and rocks is in Korea. There is a marine. There's actually a marine unit that handles naval warfare and actually even partner up with like minor criminals of the sea to capture the murderers and the heavy criminals, the heavy pirates, still to this day. And they're called the Rocks Marine Corps for the Marine Corps of South Korea, and their symbol is a yellow is an eternal dog, immortal dog.
Hmm, interesting.
I'll be back, guys. I'm gonna go put my son back down. He's
Will
waking up.
just brought
Yeah,
up the
so
fact that the symbol of the Marines is a gull as well, which is another bird, which would be a funny way of saying that.
yeah,
Like, it would be a reference to the new Marines are going to be these people that are referencing birds. So like Aokiji, uh, I'm drawing a blank now, but I've heard the theory thrown around in the Discord. Everybody join TLA Discord if you haven't yet.
yeah, guys, you will. Yeah. So now let's talk. Yeah, guys, join the Discord for some crazy VC talks. You will not lose your time. Honestly, it's there are a lot of cooks in that VC on that VC.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that. Well, Nozuro versus Jinbei and Zoro.
Hyped.
So
What?
yeah,
I'm hyped. I'm not a Zoro stan, but that was so cool.
Yeah, it's
It's the beginning of his
obviously Zoro's at
enlightenment, like a fellow Discord member Zagrash mentioned. This is the final steps of Zoro's last journey to power.
yeah.
yeah.
like Zoro already had the connection to almost all of the Buddha realms, except the lighter realm of the gods.
It's a beautiful moment.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's funny how Jinbei
Honestly.
has been this support character for Zoro for the past few chapters. It's actually been quite comical. Like, well, look, I can't wait to see it animated because you see Zoro just talking over his shoulder into the headset and stuff, like making comments like he's some heckler in the crowd, like telling them how busy they were and stuff. But when it's time to act, they came together just like they were always partners. It was nice.
Yeah, honestly, it's I honestly I did like the Zoro attack, and when we all Googled what was Sukavati's bliss, but I was very interested on Jinbei's, but I thought it would be like some sort of like secret stuff as well, inspiration. But what I read is it's just a regular judo style attack, which is interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think. Well, see, with Jinbei's attacks, whenever he does something like that, it's just a throw. Like he's not trying to hurt him, so it would just be something simple, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see where we go from here.
But I do like the one
Especially with
thing I was gonna
Zoro.
say about a judo attack, even though there's nothing special. We know the nationality of Jinbei is supposed to be Indian. A
Hmm.
lot of the stuff is on that, that whole thing. People even made connection with the whole Buddha body with Jinbei.
Mm-hmm.
But yet he used a judo attack to Nozuro, where suspected might have connection to Wano, and judo is Japanese
Mm-hmm.
martial arts style, which is interesting. That he
That
used
is a fun little
Japanese
mix there.
on Nozuro.
And like the way, whoa, we just lost a couple hands, did we?
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
no, it's okay.
Yeah, so the way like Zoro and Nozuro clash too, like do you think the swords were giving them feedback, or do you think that was just them noticing the design of the blades?
Yeah,
I
you
think
don't
they're
really know who said who asked the question. Is that a Kitetsu blade?
I think they both did. I think I think that was both of them speaking. I think the way it was written was to
Yeah.
imply that they both said it at the same time.
Yeah, because the bubble seems to be on. But I would say that it does seem to come more on emphasis more on Nozuro, because even though like there's like the small bubble thing, from redirection, on the
Mm-hmm.
Nozuro side there's just one big one, while Zoro has
Mm-hmm.
like 4 or 5. Like
Right.
it's going from Nozuro's side. But
Right.
then again, it could be that they both said at the same time.
It
Also,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was going to say it's a very Zoro thing to do to see the sword and recognize it instantly off a clash, right?
Yeah.
Also, an interesting thing I saw that Nojuro, when he was ready to slice the Sunny, he was using his right hand on the blade, but when he clashed with Zoro, he was holding the sword with his left hand.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
He's fast.
Yeah, honestly, it's an interesting matchup. Obviously, I do feel bad for Jinbei because most of the community just forgot that Jinbei was helping Zoro.
Oh yeah.
But
Well, he'll get his slander. Everybody gets their slander. Nobody's safe in this community. They're all
yeah,
terrible.
true.
Everybody's terrible in this story. We just have to accept it.
Yeah. So, guys, I'll be back because someone's been knocking at the door. I thought that someone would take it, so I think I'm alone. I'll be right back. So I'll let you guys
Yeah.
finish.
Well, that's great because I want to pivot to the potential idea that Stella we've met all through Egghead has been a satellite this whole time, and the consciousness of Vegapunk is in that brain in the vat.
And I'm gonna say again that Vegapunk, the Stella that we saw, is using that consciousness constantly.
Oh
Because
yeah,
Stella doesn't have a brain.
yeah, exactly. Just like an avatar, like something for him to interact with the physical world. Like he manages everything from his brain. And it's like you said, the Vegapunk we see has nothing. He has an apple.
Yeah, an antenna.
Yeah. So with that, do you think if Punk Records is destroyed, that the satellites then shut down? Or do you think they keep going?
Like I said before, it was said directly that the satellites are clones that every day they are connected back to Punk Records to share their memories. So they are their own person, they're their own people.
Right. So because like York didn't have to upload and she could still function, if the brain were to shut down, say, they would go on as if they were just biological life.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we could potentially be looking at, like, I know you've brought it up before, but like I'm gonna let you take the floor on this. Maybe a Vegapunk with each faction.
Yeah. As like right now on the island we have the Straw Hats with the Giants that are on the same faction basically. You have the world government and the Blackbeard Pirates. And I think each faction is gonna live with one of the Vegapunks. And
I love it.
right now, yeah, the most likely is that Lilith is gonna go with the Straw Hats. York is gonna live with the world government because the world government needs someone to recreate or multiply the Mother Flame. And right now Edison looks kind of he doesn't really look that good. Someone could just pick him up and just leave. And we know that Blackbeard pirates are on the island, so
yeah,
I see a way that the Blackbeard pirates could get their hands on a Vegapunk on Edison.
Very interesting. And it would be like now all the major factions have access to information they'd need to get either the rogue poneglyphs or the ancient weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. Yeah, because there's a few things that lead to that. Like, because I'm in the same opinion that Stella was never like the only Vegapunk. Like Vegapunk. So it's hard to put into words what I'm trying to say, but the Stella we met wasn't like the end all be all for Vegapunk. When that Stella died, like Vegapunk's brain was still there functioning normal. We all understand that. So the idea I had is that the message was actually live streaming at first. Now it doesn't make a whole lot of sense plot wise now if the message was cut off. But I thought that eventually they'd, switch cameras and show the Gorosei real time to the world over the video.
Yeah. And also with the comment of Morgan's when he said that the time doesn't match up with the clock in the room. It could just be the time that the room was scanned or whatever it was. Like the room is just a simulation. Doesn't matter what the clock says.
Right. Yeah, it's not an actual room. It's just a representation of a physical place. And it's weird because the message is said to start once Stella's heart stopped beating. Like it was programmed to begin when Stella's heart stopped beating. It wasn't programmed to begin when Vegapunk died, for example. Like the wording is very specific.
Yeah, also the Vegapunks that we saw in the message are the Vegapunks that died. Straight up. So and it's kind of weird that they don't really bring them up at their deaths after the mini time skip we had in Egghead.
Right, and the three Vegapunks we see in the message too are like, we see the Stella and then we see the good and the wise satellites. It's like they're the two that could be trusted with giving out this message.
And also, exactly. I've always said that's very interesting is when you first see what's his name, Atlas. It was in the food area, right? And there was a big part where someone brought up that there was a big sign for coffee or drinks. And the last thing we saw at the beginning, we saw when they were wasting time, Stella was talking to someone that didn't look on panel and says, "Should we get some Vega coffee?" It's like it does show that there is something off happening with that recording.
Yeah, and with York's comments too, like she couldn't make sense of it last going off. So I definitely it's a bit of a mystery I'd like to see answered before we leave the island on what's actually going on with this recording.
Yeah. I honestly, what I'm very curious about this whole recording is there a contingency plan or not? Because now we're gonna find out.
Wouldn't surprise
Because
me.
I think he would need to have some sort of like, he would assume that it wouldn't take long for someone to catch on to the Iron Giant.
That is true.
Yeah, and also I think I keep saying that the thing we need to hear from the Vegapunk message is the name of the ancient kingdom.
Dude, that would be crazy.
Robin's got to say that.
Yeah, but
I mean, I'll say this: it either has to be Robin or Vegapunk. It has to be someone that was, that basically like follows into the footstep of Clover. You know what I mean? As a person.
yeah, and also would be an inverse of O'Hara that Clover
Yeah.
died before saying the message and Vegapunk died and after he said everything.
Dude, it could be even worse. It's the whole thing of, the whole Nolan and Roger thing, where in this time, the person who tells the truth, the real truth, the taboo truth, survived. Clover died
Yeah.
before he can tell the truth, and Vegapunk told everything and was able to survive. But it's yeah, I'm telling you, this message. I still believe that we'll get another arc, or we'll get another version of that message. We'll rehear in the flashback with stuff we couldn't hear. An added content to the. But it's interesting, honestly. I'm very curious about where it's gonna go with everything.
We also were talking about Garp being with Blackbeard before we hopped on stream, and the potential of getting the God Valley flashback through his memories with Pudding on board. Like maybe Pudding takes the memories out to give to Blackbeard to see the truth of what happened at God Valley.
I mean, definitely. I've always said that if there's on my whole Garp and Rocks theory, I've always said that he has literally all the component. By having basically Pudding's fruit, he literally has one thing that Moria couldn't do. Get Ors to remember who he truly was. He was like awake to the shadows, but he was so confused about everything. It could be that was the last element. Because I always said, if he's trying to bring Rocks, he has someone who knows the most about him for a foothold. Like everything, shadows. That could also be the case. And he was interested in the whole pacifista system in Amazon Lily. So while I was gone, did you guys talk about? So we finally got a reveal that at least Mars is at least 200 years old, because we
confirmation.
Finally got confirmation.
No, we didn't mention it yet though, but it is a great point. He recognized the robot. Yeah.
Yeah. No more assumptions on them talking about stuff in the past. That is clearly only someone who would have met that creature, that contraption 800 years ago.
Yeah.
Which I always say, it's so interesting that it's Mars of all people. Like, he's the one a lot of people had a lot of theories with the Skypea stuff.
Mars is an interesting character for sure. I definitely want to get the history of Nozjuro more than anybody, though. I definitely see the ties to Wano and the Shimotsuke clan.
I'm telling you, dude, he's the reason why we didn't see a lot of Amaraki. He's the one who moved them in Marijoa. It would make sense. What if, imagine that, let's say that all the Celestial Dragons are just different royalties from different nations, the minorities who just abandon, their countries. Imagine if we get deeper in the whole Celestial Dragon thing, we might recognize from which land they originally come from. Because we always see the same ones, but imagine we'll see, like, maybe we'll recognize some of them. Like, oh, they look very similar to some people from Wano, That'd be interesting to see with Celestial Dragons.
Brandon King says Vegapunk's message should have ended with, among you there is Mont Blanc Nolan's descendant, savior of the world, Usopp.
That would be crazy. I still believe Usopp will get some sort of unwanted credit on something that happened with the Gorosei. And they'll say, good, God, Usopp, one against the Gorse. Some weird. Him and Buggy are always the one.
You
who
gotta
will
give him
get
credit this arc,
unnecessary
man.
glow up.
You
Yeah,
never
glow
even
up for-
seen him shake or nothing when Saturn showed up. It was just straight into action.
Yeah.
Gotta give
What
him
I
a bit of
believe
credit.
is, I think that there will be an image of that day, and the one image we'll see is something happens to the Gorosei, and who happens to be nearby is Usopp, so he'll get the credit for it.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Well, at the
A
end
bit
of the
like,
story, we're gonna get the tale of Usopp's fables.
Which this will be crazy. But yeah, it's like and that panel with all the Gorosei looking onto the Iron Giant, that's scary.
Oh yeah, that's menacing. I guess we gotta give Topman his credit because he got a bit of a dub this chapter too.
Yeah.
But
Also,
that's
can we
all.
talk about?
Like I say, don't say the name too much, or someone's gonna show up.
Yeah.
But
it's
can
interesting
we talk
though.
about how Jupiter's yokai form, with all the other one, literally has Luffy's scar on his nose.
I think he looks so derpy. Like I'm not impressed with the sandworm design. I'm not gonna lie. Everything
Yeah, me
else
neither.
is so badass, and the sandworm just seems out of place.
Yeah,
Not really. The
Josh?
form when he has the mouth closed, it looks very cool. But when he opens the mouth and he has human teeth. That's the thing that.
That does make it look a lot different, yeah. But right there in the panel with it around the giant, and it's just the two eyes with the X, it looks like a sock puppet.
Yeah, it's like.
But that ancient robot though, like in all seriousness, I don't think he's down for the count because the panel right above where he goes down, we see Luffy. He's not in gear 5. He's just base form. He's not releasing any energy. This robot was just trotting along and got taken out after powered down.
I mean, dude, I think that if the Giants survive an attack 20 years ago, Marijoa, I'm pretty sure it's quite durable.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they try to hit it with a lot of fireworks, so it's like. It's interesting, but honestly, yeah, I'm very curious about this whole where they're gonna go with this whole Iron Giant thing.
I'm not giving up on him yet, especially with the way he was taken out the last panel of the chapter. It's just totally likely that we could see next chapter start with him just standing up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he's in pieces.
So yeah, Josh,
I just noticed something.
I have to.
He was launched.
Hold on. Comment. I have to repeat Josh's comment.
Okay.
If you say Topman 3 times in the mirror at night, JJ will show up at night and tell you how great the boy himself is. The big boy himself is. That's a top
I need to
comment.
bring some attention though to this because when the Iron Giant is hit, he goes flying and he lands on the fleet of ships that the Straw Hats were worried about hitting. I'm looking at the panel here now.
Yeah.
Did anybody else point out the fact that that's not a problem anymore?
The what?
Remember how they were worried about the fleet of ships they were going to land on?
Yeah.
If they cooped well, the Giant lands in that fleet of ships after getting murked by Topman.
I think he fell.
He takes out 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 ships in the panel that he takes out.
Well, yeah, but that looks like it's right on the shore.
Yeah.
So it.
But that could
out
be
there in the.
that could be our escape route. If he stands up again and turns around, it's just as simple as, oh hey.
It would parallel ores actually in Marineford, because of ores falling on the falling early in Marineford.
And that was
when
the
they rise
way
up
in.
the platform. The platform can rose up, so they would had a passage to get inside the inner circle. So
the Giant falls on the fleet, and it gives him a passage out.
It's what I've been telling to people. People look at if there's a trader, they look at all the other ones, and the ones look at Top Man because he's like Kanjuro, the perfect good boy. But there's stuff that with him is just odd. It just happens to go the advantage on the other side. Every time he does something, there's something off with him.
Egghead
Top
already
Man-
looks like a
Top Man
nuclear
isn't-
explosion has gone
isn't-
off.
Top Man isn't the top man, and he's not also
No.
the bottom man. He is the odd man. That's how I'm calling him, odd man.
The midman.
I won't say that yet, you know. But,
The average man.
yeah. Watch out, you're gonna anger someone. Someone's gonna pop on there and it's gonna challenge you to a duel.
Are we all still of the belief that Egghead's going boom?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, if everyone's gone, I don't think the Gorosei are going to leave that island to live, to survive. There's too much proof of the past, of what Vegapunk has done, you know? Like, just think of the laboratory that Frankie found of Vegapunk. Imagine if they leave on no one checking on it, no security. And what the worst could be is that it can get in the hands of Blackbeard or Mads, you know what I mean? Neo Mads. That would be dangerous. In their eyes.
Okay.
So I would see them destroying Egghead if they do escape.
So that leads into my next question. If they're trying to get York because she can apparently recreate the Mother Flame or replicate it, wouldn't they need another lab of the same level of technology as Egghead? And wouldn't that take a sufficient amount of time for someone to reach that level of production where they can recreate the Mother Flame? So in theory, even if they get York and leave here and she has the knowledge to rebuild the Mother Flame, they're not going to be able to shoot it again for some indefinite amount of time.
Yeah.
It almost like
Yeah,
takes
that-
the weapon off the playing field for the next foreseeable future if Egghead does go boom.
It could also be that they will be able to just take the reactor with them, you know. We don't know the abilities they have, and just think about it. Kaido was able to do it just himself, move Onigashima where he wanted.
BK just asked about where we think the satellites are going. We hit on that earlier in the stream. There's a potential that each faction could even leave with a satellite here.
Yeah, which that would be interesting. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
like it's very interesting. So it's like at least, guys, and we get 2 more chapters before the next break week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and
But
we are at the climax. Like the feelings I got reading this chapter. Like I thought the Sunny was going to go down for a second. I thought, I was worried about Luffy and Dory and Bragi. And, yeah,
Yeah.
big things are happening.
So let's talk about the title of the link, which is, and I like to bring up because we spoke about it on VC. I would love people's reaction to it. Do you guys think that now that we finished with the chapter, do you guys think that whatever that painting is could explain what happened to? I'm not saying Lily is in the painting, but what if it's like whatever fate got Lily at the end? What if that's what was created afterwards? Because I find it weird that for someone who hates that person so much, that they have a huge painting of them, immortalizing them, giving them meaning, life in a way.
but then again,
It's possible.
there is still a possibility that Timu is in love with Lily.
Yeah, yeah, as well. It could be that. It's just found very
Well,
odd. But yeah, like it
We've
could be
talked
that
about the
it's so
quote a few
obsessed.
times now, and I don't want to butcher it, but it's something along the lines of "I will immortalize you with my art."
Yeah,
And
Gyola.
Gyola, yes, and like looking at the way Emu longs at the picture, looking at the way Emu longs at the giant straw hat, and the way we know the world has a way of putting wills into objects with poneglyphs, swords, trees, Vivre cards, like actual physical objects have the capacity to hold someone's will or some things will. And even animals, like that's a little bit deeper, but we've talked about the idea that even will could pass on to animals in the story. So to think that like her essence isn't trapped in that painting is not, or to think that her essence isn't trapped in the painting isn't far-fetched. Like,
I mean, I've always said we don't know the origin of Delph foods, and they could be like different. That's why there's different type of Delph food. They could be different origin stories. One of them is people who are just locked away inside a book or inside an art, basically erased. A bit like Dressrosa. But it goes back to what Law says about hockey in general. Anyone with a strong hockey, or if you prefer, translate to a strong will, can nullify any Delph food abilities. They can be contained in the art, and thus they become swords or Delph fruits. Like just an idea of one of the origin, because I don't think we're gonna get like one origin story for all Delph fruits. Start all the same way, and it's always like that. They would have a spectrum on how some Delph fruit would be made, because or else it would be like almost the same way. There wouldn't be that much difference, and the fruits have big difference between one another.
yeah,
Just a thought,
that's going to be an interesting one. Like the origin of devil fruits is definitely something that is going to be a difficult mystery to unravel. But if we look at like Vegapunk's message mixed with a bit of Shank's message in the beginning of the story, we can kind of get an idea. So Vegapunk thinks, dreams are involved. Shanks thinks it's a deal with the devil. Maybe it's a mix of both. Your dreams, you think you're manifesting these dreams, but what you're actually doing is praying to this sea devil of sorts. And making a contract. And there's probably a cost involved.
Who is God in this world?
It's a good question.
I mean, we know who God is. Who is God in this world?
Emu.
You have the answer. It's the Gorsian Emu, right? Because the overcelestial dragons who are called gods. So I have a question to ask you. When someone tells you in a world where the gods are who they are, and they say people made a deal with the devil, does that also make you a context of maybe the devil isn't who we think it is? You know what I mean?
100%.
It could also be referring to Nika or to Joy Boy or to another, a character, Van de Decken the first. Because if those gods are like that, and the devil always opposes God, if you have like horrible gods like that, is the devil truly that devilish? You know what I mean?
Right. And it's all about perspective too, right? Because
exactly.
like Dolph Mingle says, justice will prevail because justice is whoever wins.
Yeah, there's a quote I like, but I remember it's from a Disney movie or a cartoon or an animated movie when I was young. The truth is in the eye of the beholder, meaning that people choose if that's the truth or not. One truth for one person might be a lie for another one. Yeah, okay, you know what? I'm gonna give it to Jose Larios in the chat, where I think he was answering to my question when I was saying, who is God? He said, my goat, God NL. I'll give you that, man. It did make me laugh.
NL. That's
the God himself. God.
That is a rabbit hole right there. Yeah. That's what we should have said. Usopp?
Yeah.
But no,
well, actually, Bradley King,
to
answer to your comment, because it's a fiery cap. If Lily is trapped in the paintings, then it could fuel Oda's love for Disney. Lily's painting becomes a mirror Emu talks to. Painting on the wall. Interesting, because fun fact, and we were talking about it on VC the other day. Oda has revealed that a lot of stuff that we like as kids and influence him is also Disney. That's why he said you can see some of his Disney reference throughout the stories. I.e. Usopp, Pinocchio.
Oh, 100%.
So it's an interesting thought, So
and not just Disney. Like those Disney tales are based on old fairy tales and legends as well. Like the stories in Disney are stories told over hundreds of years.
Yeah, I know, but
they're fundamentals.
He talked about he liked how, most likely what I think is he likes the fables, but uses Disney as a visual effect. More like how to soften the blow. Like best example is you don't introduce Kuma's storyline immediately. You start writing him in a certain way, and then when you go deeper on it, oh my God, poor Kuma.
Yeah, he likes to pull from the themes, the characters, and like the messaging. Not so much like, the the design of a Disney character, but like the inner plot of a character.
Mm-hmm.
Not its outward design, its inward design, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, with the idea of Lily being in the painting though, it's leads to a lot of questions because, you know, I think a lot of people in the community expect Lily to have been the one to have created Amazon Lily after she left. So if she's still in the castle, that would knock those theories right off the table in a sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I've always said that, especially since Big Mom's son, the first when Big Mom lost it and Oven was burning the sea, which I always think that it could parallel to what happened in the Voice Century. Whoever got angry, Mother Nature cursing the food users, Oven burning the sea, they can't swim anymore. And then at the same time, Mondor, her other son, was trying to put people into the books. I do feel like there is something with people being trapped in something. So it could fit with Lily. Why no one could find her?
Yeah.
If that's the case.
Miguel, you have a question about Lily being in the painting. Perfect timing, because we're just winding down on the subject.
Yeah. Shoot away, my brother.
And the goat, to talk about the painting, just signed on.
Den. He was summoned. We talk about Lily and you were summoned.
We saved it for you, Den. We just finished like giving the brief understanding we have of the painting and if Lily's in it.
Yo.
Ladies and gentlemen.
How's the streaming going? Your first one?
This is the first I've hosted. I hope you're all enjoying it well. Hope there hasn't been too many audio issues.
Apologies for being late, but so where are we at? We're talking about Lily's painting still?
We basically did the whole recap of the chapter. So we talked about the whole chapter, and now we were just talking about the Lily spice in the painting.
Oh, well.
And before you jump in, I am going to bring you up what Brandon King said in the chat because it's actually very interesting. You know, we talk about the Disney stuff, and Oda has revealed that it has inspired on how he sees One Piece. He said, if Lily is trapped into painting, then it could fuel Oda's love for Disney. Lily's painting becomes a mirror Imu talks to. Painting on the wall, which was interesting.
Yeah. I think that's probably extremely relevant, right? In there are cover stories that feature Sleeping Beauty, which is where that's from. If I'm not mistaken, right?
Just going to touch on Miguel because he had a question there at the end. He said, if Lily is in the painting, does the mention of Saturn's painting correlate with his immortality/invincibility? I don't recall a painting of Saturn.
Yeah, nor do I. That would be very interesting if that is the case.
Was there a painting of him behind him as he was on the way to Egghead or something? Because I remember there was a cool panel of him. I don't remember a painting of Saturn.
In his ship, maybe, or something.
Because that would be very interesting. If that could be a connection, right, to how they're able to travel too.
Maybe on the boat or something. But I do think that.
Yeah.
I think it's like I've been thinking about this today because I was writing the script and stuff. Like, if I think like even if it isn't explicit, it definitely is intentional. That Oda's like. There's a connection between these remnants of the old world and sort of wills or knowledge that's been kept hidden to protect or secure key figures, you know?
Yeah.
Ooh. The Marines mentioned they only seen Saturn in paintings before.
Yeah. And what's interesting as well is the only time we see a painting like that is when most likely the body is dead. Or at least not a part of this world, because we have the same thing in Cobra, but it could be that her physical body is no more in this realm as well. It could also be that because, you know, if Cobra is dead and is in the afterlife, that's the same concept. It's in the other realm.
I definitely believe that, like, as I say, even if it's not explicit, like you say, it involves this dimensionalism and stuff like that. This idea that, like, it's hard to explain, but how space works, like you say, like where is this person? Are they alive? Are they dead? Her eyes were like definitely shaded out, which we saw with Cobra when he died, and the picture itself is juxtaposed with the panel of Cobra at his funeral and his portrait. So I definitely think like um, there's a death motif there. However, it's very so interesting, like whether or not she's actually attached to the painting, because we've seen like the woman on the painting with Saint Breast with the spear through her head. We've seen paintings of Vivi's mum who went missing. So yeah, and Carmel obviously when Big Mum when that picture got broken, Big Mum really freaked out, like highlighting that there's like an element of soul in the picture or control.
And like the way he longs at it, he, she, emu, whatever, longs at the picture, sort of similar to the way they longed at the straw hat. Like they're thinking back to the events of the Void Century. Like the three of them were put. I think the three of them were involved in a big issue.
And if you analyze how Mondor's fruit works, Big Mom's son, he puts people into a book and then they're illustrated inside that book. What if like what we're talking about is people being put into like another realm, or I don't know, a mirror world, or whatever we're talking, or a painting world, let's call it like that. It could be that the only way to put someone in the mirror world is that they need to have a physical foothold in the real world, the painting.
It's like Blue Nose door fruit. Like he says he goes to another dimension. Like I've always wondered, is he in this other dimension walking around like it's a physical space, or is he open a door and a door appears somewhere else? Like you know.
It's curious.
It is.
It definitely regards like it concerns lots of fruits, like big Blackbeard's fruit and Caribou's fruit. But excuse me, just touching more specifically on what Kube was saying, I do think knowing Oda, that will be an element of this. Like there will be some sort of physical binding. Like I don't think it's a coincidence that we also saw the Straw Hat and Marijois. These seem to be like relics or Horcruxes of someone's will, and I do think there'll be rules around that. Like there has to be some measure which is bound in reality. But also touch on something else you said. Mondior is a great example. Another child of Big Mum's, which is very weird that they're both Big Mum's children, is Brule with the Mirror Nomi, and the idea that like you can access in and out of dimensions, right, and go through these like mirror worlds and stuff. So I think like all the ingredients are there to suggest that it's
also think about this, right? Let's just analyze 3 specific kids of Big Mom with the Disney lore we're talking about. You know, Disney / the fables they connect to. You've got the book, putting people into a book. There are many Disney stuff that talks about that. A lot of kid stuff, so it's not like this crazy feat. Then you have Mirror with Brule, but then you have another one that actually fits a Disney theme. What's his name? Daibutsu. He's the genie. Or I forgot his name. The
That's
genie
the right
guy.
name. Yep. Daibutsu.
He literally has a genie. Like if you think about it, those themes are very heavily influenced in major Disney movies as well.
Yeah, the Disney piece is like infinitely strong as we go through. It's almost like a mashup of Disney.
If you analyze certain of the songs, you're saying, okay, yeah, it actually makes sense why Disney was such a big inspiration, because it makes sense why Oda makes such big thing about songs, because it's safe in Disney as well.
Well, I got a bit of a wacky idea on the whole Lily in the painting idea. Like, because we know with the shadow powers that if the person gets put in the sunlight or they die, that the shadow would also die. So what if that Emu is actually Lily's shadow, and that's how Emu is able to ensure for eternity that Lily can't be the one to see the sun?
Yeah, definitely reflective of the whole Dorian Gray story, where like Dorian Gray stays the same age, doesn't take damage, and everything that goes into him instead inflicts the painting, right? So I could definitely see that maybe destroying the painting is a way of
some thievery card feeling to it. You know what I mean? Like you take out that painting, like like as Emu hurts, that painting will burn.
Actually, there is something there. Nak, you might have something on it, and it's interesting. The first time we saw someone eat a devil fruit and show the transformation was Kaku, and the first thing we shown is that his shadow got bigger and started to manipulate. So it's weird, but what if the food users are? It's like people not only who lost their bodies, but they lost their shadows. They need a host for it.
Yeah.
It's more than Trilla Bark.
Yeah,
More than
there's
Trilla Bark.
sort of host element.
Yeah. Because that was
Big
the
Mom,
first
for
thing.
example, like animates inanimate objects, right? Like she turns nothing into hosts. Like she turns basic objects into hosts, which I think is quite cool.
So it
I'd
could be
like to
also
cook
this
on
whole
that a little
concept
bit
of losing both
because
your body and your shadow. Because what happens when you lose your body and your shadow? And it does. I've always said like the shadow, how you manipulate shadow could be more connected to the concept of mind. The body. What's left? Your spirit.
and that comes back to the Peter Pan connections with the shadows still.
Yeah. It's the
Constantly.
embodiment of someone's will. So it's like, yeah, like I said, it's very interesting. And the whole thing with the shadow, I would say more like it's Emu's remnants of Nika's shadow. That's why maybe Emu and Nika literally have eyes that goes together, you know.
Well, that's
become
the big
Really?
downfall of Moria's power, right? Is like you can't prevent the person you take a shadow from dying. But we know Giola said, "I'll immortalize you in my art." So if you immortalize someone, then their shadow would potentially be immortal too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think the use of the word immortal definitely leans in that direction.
Yeah.
We've seen it in many aspects
Very
before
specific
in One
wording.
Piece, and then the technique is called like Heaven's Gate or something, right? Which is the gap between kind of like life and death, or the divine and the mundane. Also, I think it's very interesting that I've never. Sorry, I'm a little bit ill. I've never really noticed this until now, but when I was writing today, I noticed there was a lot of interactions between Brook and Giola, which is interesting because we talk about Heaven's Gate and stuff, whereas Brook's the opposite. Brook's like Sharon, right? Like he's like almost the gatekeeper between the mundane and hell rather than heaven. So there definitely seems to be this soul element with Giola. And she was easily distracted as well, which I think is very classic One Piece. Like the Straw Hats would have been absolutely destroyed. Like would have lost then and there otherwise.
Yeah.
And there's also the whole concept of the one person she talked about all of stuff, which was Brook, the tragedy and everything. She spoke about the one person in this story who was literally a person that's part of two different crazy generations. The one before Roger that made Roger and people like Garb go to the sea because he was already an adult when they started doing their stuff. And this one of the next Pirate King. So he's like literally pre-Pirate King, post-Pirate King, which is crazy. Representing two different eras.
I think, yeah, completely agree with that. Completely agree with that.
Yeah.
It's one of the most like at first we were talking about it when we first read the chapter, then we stopped talking about it a bit while everyone else, we knew everyone else was going to talk about it, but now it's come back. I think it's a really nice little like in such deep times in One Piece. It's nice to just have a little mini theory. It's very One Piece. It's very Oda-esque. It goes back throughout the whole story and reflects on all of these. I saw a comment actually on that picture on the Saint Brice with the framed picture of the woman that looks like Phoebe and Lily and stuff, and has the spear through her head. And someone wrote years and years ago a comment saying, "Will we ever find out who this is?" And it does feel like it is relevant. Like we are getting to that time. Like maybe there's paintings of all of Emu's wives, or maybe there's, as I say, relics of multiple different people, like Joy Boy Straw Hats. Whether or not it's the Iron Giant or the Straw Hat in Marie's or the painting of Lily. So I'm fascinated to see what direction Oda takes this. And them eyes cannot have been more clear that they were like scratched out. When we know eyes are the window to the soul, particularly in One Piece. So.
Yeah. Mr. Bushido, thank you again for all the super chats today. Maybe Emu can enter the paintings like Super Mario.
I mean, I've always said that I like it. I'm just going to jump first because I've always said that. Look back at the Reverie. They literally heard Emu the moment Emu was in the room. Even the Gorosei were shocked. Like, Emu did not walk up to them. It like Emu just appeared behind them. So I do like this idea.
Yeah.
And again, another €2. He asked any ideas where Yamato cover story is going. This is like 6 for Mr. Bushido this stream. Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, man. Guys,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to. You know what? I'm gonna put a W. I'm gonna call him Bushido for this dude. You've been your
Yeah.
generosity, man. Your generosity, man. Honestly, and it's interesting take. So
Good
honestly,
questions as well.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think the Yamato thing. All right, there's a few things to understand, in my opinion, anyway. So the Yamato stuff on face value is going to have some cool symbols and cool journeys and stuff like that, but we aren't really going to understand it fully until once it's done, because it ties to Oda's journey, maybe Odin's journey, maybe a different version of it, maybe a more successful one that does end up with the opening of Wano and ties back into the story with Pluton. I think it will be one of the most important ones, but right now it's very hard to understand completely without the full picture. Which, when I was reading Patchy's cover story, it's very similar. Like you can see that something's happening, but you just don't know what until you've read the whole thing.
We speculated
Mhm.
earlier it could be like the introduction to Blackbeard coming to Wano for Pluton.
Well, that's exactly what the direction I would go personally
Yeah.
is. Some sort of maybe a mention of Green Bull, or I don't know. There's
Mm.
just a lot. There's a lot to tie up there, right? So it's
I
probably
mean,
going to be pretty
if he's gonna
long.
do be cover story, he's gonna do like with the Blackbeard pirates going to get pudding. He might not put them on panel, but he's going to give the effect of the build. Is like, what if we see a swamp puddle
And we don't know
just
the
before we
extent
see?
of the implications of that cover story yet either. If Pudding takes Garp's memories, for example, and shows us God Valley through his eyes, that's just gonna be that'll be one of the best cover stories ever. Then.
Yeah, I mean, it could literally show like a silhouette of Caribou at the end to show that, like, to give it a time mark that Caribou's
Mm-hmm.
been with the Blackbeard Pirates since, or something like that. There's a lot of different directions to go with it, but it's very, very
I
spicy
mean,
to have that as a cover.
Yeah.
and it also goes on my agenda that something happened to Garp after God Valley because, interesting enough, the two people that we keep hearing about getting a phone call and changing their attitude was Guernica and Rob Lucci. And they get a call with and then the Celestial Dragon is always included in that call. And Garp had that same change of mind, got a call and had a change of mind in Ennis Lobby. And it was weird, but in Marineford, it looked like he physically couldn't even try to help Ace. Like it was making him sick.
I mean,
So I said that
it
they
was
might
stated
like
that he
putting.
did the same at O'Hara,
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, right? He was told to do something, he refused the command, and because of it, he got stuck at
yeah,
Vice Admiral.
yeah. So
Hmm.
it could be this thing of what if let's say if something happened like people like Garp, what if Pudding is able to take out those part of himself, those memories, something pushed really down below him.
Deep.
This would make sense actually.
Yeah, Pudding's gonna be a key player, I think. There's
Yeah,
so much
I followed.
mystery that she can unravel.
Yeah, I recently followed that because
She's
someone in a YouTube comment recently in an episode of I'm watching a reactor. She's in Fishman Island right now, and we're reading
Shout
some of
her
the
out.
comments. And he was saying a spoiler because she was talking about Usopp. So I said don't read. And it was just for the commenters. He
Hmm.
was talking about Dressrosa, and like it says that's why I like Usopp because he's such an interesting character. Even when people like attack Usopp for doing that moment in Dressrosa, but people don't forget like that's how Oda's a genius. The moment where Usopp changes becomes a coward, is the moment that Robin is turned to a toy. If you think about it, without Robin
I,
being captured, and in his lobby storyline, you not get the courageous Usopp we have right now. So it could be the same thing with Garp. Removing certain instants in his actions would change how he sees things as well.
Oh, they could turn him into a villain if they do things right.
Yeah, they could
I
also.
think it's good
Yeah.
to bring that together as well, similar to Brule and Mondior. I think like Sugar is extremely important because she shows us that there's a contract, that there's like rules to this. And, for
Hmm.
Rules of
example, people
engagement.
get forgotten and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then you have Pudding, who literally removes the memories of these individuals. So again, third eye
Yeah.
giving you the soul element, which ties the soul into it. However, the idea is more so that there's some rules people get forgotten about. Maybe it's a part of the propaganda or how Lily
Hmm.
even controls the public image of
Yeah.
Lily, stuff like that.
And I've always said like those rules of engagement could also work on the Gorosei. They seem to want to be sure that the person has that information before. Clover was the best example. Only after Clover showed that he had the news that's when they decided to get him out. Don't you find it very interesting? Ironically, this one message of Vegapunk where he basically says everything that they don't want to hear. He starts by saying, "This is just a theory." And I'm wondering if there is actually a rule of engagement for some people, like the Gores say, where they have to be, where it has to be assumption. It cannot be an assumption. It has to be clear.
That's genius. Like that's completely genius. Like Vegapunk says, I have a theory. Emu says this is what the reality is. So one's free, the other one's closed and controlled.
Yeah.
In terms of their knowledge giving and stuff. So I think that's a brilliant touch there by Oda.
Yeah. Yeah, I would explain also people like Doflamingo and Shanks be able to do what they want to do. If every time what they're assuming they know is assumption. Because if you think about it, Doflamingo, when he blackmails, we see him blackmailing the world government. He doesn't say what he blackmails. He just says, "I know your secret." Then same thing as Shanks. They don't see clearly what they know, but they seem that they're alluding to it. Maybe that might be enough for people
Which
like
is
the
what happened with Rayleigh, right? This idea that like he could have told them all the answers, which somebody asked him to do, and then somebody else was like, "No, don't do that. You're ruined."
Yeah.
So it's like the idea of a dream.
Exactly, yeah.
Actually, the thing with Rayleigh is really interesting too because he had two instances to answer questions. Because Robin first asked him about the D initial, and he said, "Do you really want me to tell me?" And she said, "No, I'll figure it out." And then Usopp pipes in. He's like, "So do you know what the One Piece is?" And he's like, "Oh, I do." And that's when Luffy has his moment and tells him he'd quit if he knew.
Yeah.
Good night, brother. Sorry, to find something from the shop. Yeah, for real. Like, yeah, like at the end of the day, it's got to be something like super significant in it. It's not going to be some like non-important situation.
I do feel like the One Piece, if you hear what the One Piece is, really, I think people will not go for it. Because it's, you know what I mean? It's like,
it's not a treasure.
how can I say that? It's like if Elon Musk tells you, I'm talking real life, tells you about
like
a system that could give you everything, but when you know what exactly how it starts, you're saying, "Yeah, dude, I don't believe in that."
Well, there's the panel that Will has posted. Will of Fire has posted in the Discord from the Ace flashback where the pirate is in the burning dump, and he says, "It's a funny thing about humans, you know, we hit rock bottom, and sometimes we just stand there and laugh." And all I can think about is Roger in that situation. Like, he gets the laugh tail, and he finds out the truth is just a tragedy, and all they can do is sit there and laugh.
Completely, right?
Yeah.
Like the idea about like this idea of romance, you know, romance is often like has these strong tragic elements and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we know that at one point in the story, when Buggy did not want to go after the One Piece for some reason, right? Because of everything he's went through, when he mocked the One Piece, Buggy is literally the character in which everything that Roger said. So we know that Buggy, that's what he strives for. So whatever the One Piece is in its core, Buggy knows to it that it's not that. But maybe he knows a bit more with it, but he doesn't want to do the work. Doesn't want to do the work. So
they could do a beautiful thing with Buggy if he finds the One Piece first, realizes it's not like whatever gold and jewels, it's not the treasure for him, and he doesn't announce to the world that he found it. It'd be a beautiful
it's another
moment for him.
Yeah. I think that's another brilliant point that like super good tie to the end. Like Buggy's one of the first Devil Fruit users that we sort of learn in combat and stuff like that, and he has deep resentment towards Luffy because he thinks that Luffy's sort of
stepping on his toes,
disrespecting Shanks, or exactly right. Then we see like 900 chapters or 1,000 chapters later that Buggy is crushed by the truth that Shanks isn't who he thought he was, and like kind of traumatizes him and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it'd be like a personal growth moment. Like, he'd go up and be like, "This isn't what I wanted with my life. Like, I'm not the hero to take down the world government. I can do nothing with this prophecy if that's what it is. Like, I'm not even going to announce that I found the One Piece. I'm going to go find Captain John's treasure like I always wanted."
And we know that
exactly.
And we know that fame and power and money is what always Buggy was for. That's why it does show that to its core, the One Piece isn't that. It's everything but that.
And us, the viewers, would know that
he's
Buggy
not the
grew.
person. He's not the person to reach all of that, so he doesn't want to do the work because he cannot do it. He cannot bring fame and all that. That's what he saw in Shanks.
But the Buggy from 1,000 chapters ago would have announced that he found the One Piece and pretended it was a big glorious treasure. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It'd be a beautiful
I
moment.
mean, there's definitely like a strong focus on will and intent, the will to do something, whereas a lot of Buggy's achievements have happened kind of through the will of nature or destiny rather than kind of like Blackbeard. Blackbeard just goes with it, so he's kind of like a master of it. Whereas Buggy, if he does find the One Piece, it'll probably be accidentally, you know. And like you say, Nat, he might not even recognize it. He might think, "Oh, all I'm going to do is go get John's treasure because that's where it's really at."
Yeah.
And that is his complete like.
Yeah,
So
my
us, the
thing is-
viewers, we know
wait, because
Buggy was first.
because I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna finish the point because I still did not finish the point.
Oh, sorry.
What
brother.
if what he is talking Roger about is the byproduct of what the One Piece is? But until he met Luffy, the Lockdown stuff, there was missing a component, Joy Boy component. He might have heard something. He doesn't know who Joy Boy is, but we know that whatever Shanks knows, he knew enough to go after the Gomu. And then when he found Luffy, the way he talks to Rayleigh, he seems to know something about Joy Boy. So it could be this thing of the moment Luffy came in the story, some stuff started to make sense. And he might have not thought that Luffy was the one, but some of the stuff that Roger and Rayleigh were talking about after they came from Laugh Tale started to make sense. So then he started to see the One Piece as someone that could give you, you know what I mean? Like the One Piece doesn't give it, but it's a byproduct.
I agree. I think thematically, like what you're saying, it was probably hard for somebody who's new to One Piece to understand because it is thematically quite complex. But I think you're completely right in the sense that like what Nak was saying, if Roger probably told people what the One Piece is, they probably wouldn't go for it.
Right.
However, so it's like it's not worth it. However, he was willing to die to send people there, which means it is worth it, right? So it's this weird blend of, like you say, it's not. It sounds a bit cliche, but it's not about the treasure; it's about the journey. And Roger probably understood that there's like some fated journey that needs to occur.
Yeah.
And the whole
Someone
world
needs
to
to
partake
put
in
these
some real
pieces
form.
together. It's not so much the end of the journey.
Exactly.
Someone needs to take every step.
Exactly.
Exactly. And so it kind of makes you think of maybe that's why I'm very curious more to hear about Buggy. I want to know what changed between the events of Orange Town and Lockdown to after he meets him in Impel Down, because Buggy's drive is completely different. I mean, after Orange Town as well. Like, what is the thing about Luffy? Because he doesn't seem to know, doesn't talk to Luffy like he's that special. But there was something that happened to him after defeating Luffy that gave him his will back.
There was a
It
moment
is
of
worth noting
shock.
that he's been to Laugh Tale. Like, there's a lot of.
He
in
hasn't
fact,
been, but
I
he
could
knows
probably
about
say
he knows about Laugh Tale. He knows about Laugh Tale. He hasn't been there.
yeah. I mean, he's been in the proximity, right? He had to stay on the ship. But my point is that like he is probably one of the most exposed, like one of the characters that given the most exposure to Laugh Tale of the entire story. From a truthful perspective, we can pretty much guarantee.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's weird. He probably has a lot going on. Like that chapter, well, I can't remember what it was, 1030 or something. With when he had his emotional speech, that hit hard. People weren't expecting that, and I don't like Buggy, and that hit me hard. You know, I was like, whoa.
That was from Buggy's heart. That was what he wanted to say, like right from the beginning. But to touch on like what you said, Kube,
actual character.
It was like he instinctively seen the pieces of Roger's message fall into play from Luffy. Like he's watching Luffy live the way he lives, and he's like, "This is what Roger was talking about when he was talking about being a pirate."
Yes, that might have been the moment. Kube and yourself have been talking a lot about like Robin and stuff. Does Robin know more than she lets on and stuff? And yeah, maybe there is an element of that. Maybe he he saw Luffy as Joy Boy, and that was it.
I think it's something that Luffy said. I think something that Buggy said and the way Luffy responded is something that for him fits on what Roger was talking about. That's why, because it's weird, because even though that the way Buggy is with Luffy does not seem that until recently he didn't see him as someone special, just an annoyance. Yeah. In character he keeps seeing back. Yep. So it cannot be that he knows like Shanks knows. But I'm sure there was something in Orange Town on the way Luffy responded to Buggy that it woke up something in him.
There was that scene and Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that this. I heard I'm gonna make a whole deal about this. That Luffy being the sun god, he and Buggy, I think he represents the moon god. He got illuminated by the sun. and then
reflected from his light.
he now reflects the life back at other people.
Yeah,
and it's like
we see that in Impel Down very clearly. You know, like it ends up being Buggy that frees everyone, or supposedly in a Marine Corps, he becomes a Yonko because of it. Or
I like that idea. But to touch on the moment, Smoker makes notice of Luffy saying the exact same thing Roger did on the stand. Or sorry, making the same face. So I wonder if that face unconsciously like triggered something in Buggy to think of Luffy in a different light. Like when he was going to execute him and Luffy smiled, and you get that panel of Smoker like shocked. We don't see Buggy's reaction to Luffy's face in that panel. We just get Buggy zapped with lightning.
That's fascinating. Definitely. I've never noticed that. We see a lot of reactions and a lot of people that seem very shocked. But I didn't notice that we never saw Buggy's reaction. But that would seem like something that Buggy would be like, "Oh God, here we go," sort of thing, if he knows the real truth.
Yeah, it's just weird for me.
But also, he's after Captain John's treasure.
Yeah.
And we don't know why. Like, that's significant.
Yeah.
What we know is the Captain John treasure, whatever it is, it's connected to his the will that he inherited, because he had that even before he had the fruit, before anything. He was very young.
Yes.
Like
exactly.
he hates because there was underground treasure and Captain John treasure at the time, and that's why he hates also Shanks. Because
that's right. He was after that treasure before he even knew about anything, really. Yeah. He was talking about that treasure as a little boy. He was like, "This is the map of Captain John's treasure."
It's very close to Sanji.
Yeah, we saw that with Blackbeard as well.
Yeah.
Before he had the Yami, he was already up to nefarious stuff.
It's very similar to Sanji. He hears about the All Blue in his flashback, then he glues onto it. Never gives up on it.
Yeah. I think another element with Buggy that's vitally important is in the South Blue section that we've been at in the manga recently, we see Bonnie really does have this ability to, well, it seems that she can change reality with her imagination, which is a theme that's becoming ever more present. She got her abilities in the church, just like how Kube got the footprints on his hands in the church from praying after he'd eaten the fruit. Buggy, like Usopp lies a lot, and it somehow comes true, and Buggy is always trying to escape, and miraculously it does happen. So I used to really, like I say, I did not like Buggy just because the fan hype was I think it was misplaced, but now I'm starting to come around and think that, like, he is a significant character in the same way that Luffy and all that stuff is. And like you say, he also has all these connections to After, more direct connections. He's already been in the vicinity.
Yeah.
Then I'm happy that he came around on the Buggy the Messiah.
I'm still not a Buggy hyper. I love the character.
There are always infidels that get converted to the religion, so we're happy to have you, man.
Well, seeing him break, and hearing someone actually talk about Buggy and Shanks and how that moment where Roger basically chose Shanks and then Shanks chose not to follow the journey was the moment that Buggy really went down the wrong path. I've looked at him a lot different and how he can turn his path around in the story, and I think that's kind of what Oda's been trying to do. He's been trying to turn Buggy's path around to be on his will, the proper path for his will. So I think that's why we're getting a lot more appreciation for the character, because he was just nothing at first. It was a joke.
He's rounding out. I completely agree.
And I also believe that he might be also a Moria or a Crocodile character, because that's very interesting. When we met Buggy, he was a despicable pirate, right? But similar with Crocodile, with some people being, we know that something happened to Crocodile. Everyone works saw him he's God and all this stuff. And you think about it, the way the crew looked at Buggy. Same thing as Moria lost his will with Kaido and became a shadow version of himself. But I'm pretty sure that before he was in Orange Town, I think when he had strong ambition and when the crew first came together, he was a different pirate.
Yeah. I think it's loyalty. You mentioned a few things that is interesting, like something I'm not sure if you brought up on stream yet, but we've been talking about a lot in VC is I'm so sorry about that. Is that recently we've been talking about how Luffy throughout his gears has a change in formation or size, right? Each gear seems to affect like Gear 7 with his lifespan. It's Gear 4 for that thing is small. And we do have this like alternate version of Buggy. So the fact that you mention a shadow self or something is interesting because we have this Buggy who's a chibi, and that's how when his cover story takes place, where he goes AWOL and his crew fight amongst each other. Buggy comes back to save them. Oh no, they get third partied by some strange like weird race of people, and then Buggy comes back as a savior and saves them just as they think he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
So all the elements are there to connect him to like this emu stuff and the shadow self and like this other version of himself, the soulless self.
That could have been like his
Yeah.
his like switch to the proper path too, because that was like after his defeat of Luffy. And if we talk about other characters, when Luffy beats him, it's like he straightens out their will. He's like, no, this is the way you should be. Like just based on his actions, he doesn't even tell him like. Just like you got to follow your heart, and a lot of characters seem to follow their heart after coming across Luffy.
I mean, you know what kind of reminds me of in the TLA, for those who know the TLA lore, back in the old day when Josh was this horrible pirate that attacked everyone and got humbled by the pirate queen 3-Day, kind of reminds me of the same thing, Josh lost his ways and 3-Day showed him to the right path, so, it's accurate.
Yeah, well, I completely get the idea that like a side effect of Luffy is like this liberation, right? And then Buggy, after meeting him, resets his journey and goes off. It's so we could definitely say that even though Buggy probably would deny it, Buggy is probably influenced by Luffy. Luffy again is the sun, is attracting people to the right order, putting them in their right place.
He makes people follow their dreams too, just in the way he's so tenacious. Like the places he liberates are not only liberated, but they're flourishing in community and support for each other. Yeah. It's like everyone has this renewed drive in the human spirit.
But it's like kind of reflective of Luffy's influence, like Joshua said. It's kind of like a moon sort of motif there, or a feminine motif.
Yes.
Feminine.
Feminine to the masculine of the sun.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's reflective. It's dependent and stuff like that. Not feminine gender. But going back to the painting, so there's lots of evidence to suggest that there's something going on here. The eyes thing seem super, super spicy. And once again, we have this repeating of fate, Vivi has now been kidnapped, Lily went missing. So do we think that maybe Yumi's going to try to put Vivi's will into the painting, or how do you think Vivi comes in?
I think
Go ahead.
Everything's a cycle.
Yep.
What if the Wapol part and Big Morgan part is because if it's a cycle, something has to change. What if that part of the story is Vivi was always to be under the hand of the world government? They were never to lose their grasp because Wapol could be one of those linchpin, a character that was also punched by Luffy.
So I have a little wilder take on why Emu's after Vivi.
Okay.
And I think it's because Vivi is the natural controller of all three of the ancient weapons through lineage, and Emu doesn't have a controller right now. The fact that they used a weapon was probably like brute force with the Mother Flame, like forced it to activate. It was a test to see if they could even set it off. And what they really need is the human aspect of the ancient weapons.
That's interesting. I'm gonna give my thought. I like the idea. I've always said it's very weird, but the Nefertari family seems to be a very important family to the point that they don't want to publicly acknowledge that they never joined Marijoa. Because we know that they never joined them because we get the information. But publicly, 20 kingdom joined Marijoa, not 19. And I've always said there's something off because we know there's more than now 20 kingdoms in the world government. There's something odd about those 20 kingdoms. Like, without them, they have no standing of their power. You know what I mean? Kind of makes me think of they need a Nefertari. They need to control Alabasta. They need to have the Alabasta underworld government reign for some reason.
I also like to say 3 days. 3 days the one who brought up the idea of Vivi being the controller of all three. I probably heard it from her. Just gonna throw that out there.
Both points. I think both points are super relevant. Nefertari seems particularly significant. and there does seem to be some sort of, we saw the whole Vivi thing trying to potentially control the rain. There definitely seems some weird elements there, but 3-Day, I know you've got a bit of a theory about Lily. Did you want to share it?
I think she's just she's listening right
Listening
now.
in.
Yeah.
I know she's got something cooked up, but I haven't read it, had a chance to read it yet. But yeah, okay, cool. The thing I was gonna say is
she's commenting
with the
in the
Vivi stuff in the
she's
universe.
commenting in the chats in the YouTube if you want.
Okay, I'll look at it in a sec. The other thing I was gonna say was that I agree with the family aspect and with the potentially with the ancient weapons aspect. What I do find strange though is this idea that there's a painting on the wall. It does come across as like a connection. It's a bit sadistic to have a painting of the wall of like one of your victims and stuff, and there seems to be more there. Like maybe there's a part of Lily still in Emu or something like that, and it's reflective of mistakes or the blunder, or I don't know. There seems to be some sort of affinity.
Or it could be that Emu is just in love with Lily.
Emu what? Sorry, Josh?
Exactly.
Emu is in love with Lily.
Yeah, absolutely. I get those vibes a lot from the way they look at the pictures.
I like the love thing, because the love sickness is just a big thing, but I just thought of it. What if that's why Cobra made that statement? No one in Alabasta, no king or royalty knew about Lily. Remember, the only time we've got that is when Sugar uses her power. People are turned into toys, and everyone who knew that person forget them. What if that could be why Cobra made that hint of we've never heard of a ruler in Alabasta called Lily?
That's interesting, because that could be why he's asking questions about the letters in the first place.
Yeah,
who are these
like
letters
maybe the letter
from?
was already written.
Who are these letters from Lily?
Like
I don't know though, Lily.
Yeah, like the statue of Kyros. Something that is not of the person that was made for their honor, or they wrote it, and maybe the letter was written even before whatever went down with Emu and Lily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People can remember her.
So we see this at the moment with Vegapunk, right? In his speech, and this idea that there's a break into the true history, and the true history somehow liberating the world. So for Cobra to say, what do you know about this person, suggests, like you said, that there's information from before that time, which is true, which has been leaked somehow, which would definitely cause Emu to
react the way she did. Yeah.
Exactly.
How do you even know that name? I erased it from everyone's memory. What do you mean there's letters?
Yeah, which again, yeah, like this is why I brought up Sugar earlier and Kube brought up then, and we also have the significance of pudding and the memory stuff. Like, yeah, there definitely seems to be rules in place or some sort of contract. And I mean, one thing I was positing today is the idea that it could be a form of a devil fruit, or it could be a combination of devil fruits. I've spoken before that I think we're going in the direction of combining devil fruits. So, yeah, this could be another example of devil fruits, what they truly are, where they truly.
And we had someone in Alabasta give information about someone that no one heard about, and he cut off Robin, Crocodile. That could explain why Crocodile. I always said it's so weird when we read that part. Like the moment he starts speaking, what if he knows of that practical world government? It's something he's never heard, meaning that it was someone that was erased. So he can. It's basically there's some stuff that he's willing to accept as information, but he knows the risk. So he would not take the risk on something that doesn't interest him. You know what I mean? Could also be that
Which
he's aware of that practice.
It brings up. Excuse me again. Which brings us to this strange situation with Garp, Kong, Sengoku, Akainu. Some of these people seem to know elements of the truth, yet seem to still agenda. So it's very strange.
Right. It's like there's two different narratives, and we don't know either of them. Because if the narrative we're picturing in our heads is the only one that people know, it doesn't make sense for all these Marines to still be fighting the fight.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if we find out that like the upper ups were told a completely different story of the Void Century.
Something like that, and it ties back into what Kube was saying about Cypher. These guys seem to know something, but then Cypherpole we have this bizarre situation where this picture of Nika, Gear 5 Luffy, gets posted and a wanted posted despite the Garcia's instructions specifically not to. So some weird stuff there, and it could very well tie to Zebek's agenda of value.
I mean, this could be to prove what I was saying about the whole Garp, Rob Lucci, and Garnica, is that there's a loophole, meaning that they have to follow a certain ruling, know how they say it to the letter, but they never said to Garnica what happens after you do what you do. He has free will to take a picture of the sun god. What happens to Garp after he lets Ace die, tries to kill Sakazuki? What happens after he tries to go after Vegapunk? They never told him what to do with Luffy. He does an alliance with Luffy. And then they call him again. And then suddenly he literally disavowed even his partner, Kaku. Someone that we now know that he even said, can you please spare my friend Kaku to Mars? So he's that close to him, but yet he abandons everything. There are loopholes moments where if the order is not clear, think of Garp goes to Water 7, but then get his call from the higher ups, and now he has to arrest him. Before, like hours ago, he was having fun with them. They even care that they went after Enisabi. There's a loophole moment in those orders.
Do you think
there's this like sort of like slip up where like Kaku said you cannot attack Luffy, that is against the rules. And as soon as Lucci saw him, he just broke roll and reacted in an awakening, you know what I mean, and started fighting him and stuff like that. So there's, like you say, there's cracks in the system sort of.
What do you think about the idea that it might reflect the authority chip hierarchy? Like Kaku can say that stuff, but Kaku doesn't have an authority over Lucci.
Authority does seem to play a role in it.
Like even like the Cypher Pole agents have the chips in them. Like certain people can influence their decisions, and they don't even know it.
Yeah, well, Kube and I have spoken about this for years in terms of hypnosis, and like I've mentioned multiple times with the hair, you know, Suru's hair's grey, Garp's hair's grey, Sengoku's, they all join the Marines the same year. Sengoku's is black, and then when he retired, it goes grey instantly. It's like, and then they're all eating all of a sudden. Like, it's like, I don't know, like you say, there's some sort of, again, contract or some sort of understanding. Like, it's hard to explain, like a deal or something. Like, these people know some of the truth, and because of it, they can benefit somehow from some of it. But Garp was there at the O'Hara. He declined the bus school, and he still is working for the Marines. So there seems to be this weird control somehow over these people. Who brought up something a second ago? What character did you bring up? Just 2 seconds.
Sorry? I didn't hear.
What character did you bring up? Like 2 seconds.
I talked about Crocodile. That may be the reason why he didn't want to hear about that leader of that hero of Alabasta from thousands of years ago.
I know what I was going to say. I was going to say another thing like that we've spoken about for a while, which not many people know about, is Kureha, Higurashi, and Carmel. 3 really old chicks, all knew weird stuff. Guernica died in the exact same way Higurashi was died, and it was shown, like, even during the panel, there was like a flashback. So during the chapter, there was a flashback showing us the similarity, and again, there's these weird ties to these secret truths. So maybe Kureha does, do you want to know the secret to youth? Do you want to know the secret to youth? Well, all you got to do is say yes, but people don't want to hear it. They just want to live in their own daydream and stuff. So yeah, I think that will be connected as well. The fact that Higurashi knew to manipulate Orochi, and that Carmel spoke about one big school, which is exactly what Zebek went to Bug Valley for. There seems to be a history of the truth, sort of nearly coming up, and Dragons can explain it.
And multiple cover-ups of information, not just the Void Century, but consistent information manipulation all through the centuries.
Yeah.
By the way, Deden, you weren't here at the beginning of the stream. I called it because of that panel. Kobe is the new guard, Bruce is the new Sengoku, and Kujaku is the new Sulu. It's official now. The way they talk to one
Yeah,
another
Felix
and
is
saying
literally
it's our
through
turn to
forever.
step up. It's a new generation. They're the three next heroes of the Marines. I mean, the trio of the Marines.
I think it's Kuzan spoken, and then you say like the 300.
Yeah.
Like Kobe won't be the admiral for whatever reason. Like he'll decline it.
Or no, it also could be that maybe he'll be the Garp who chose to become an admiral because the Marines is respectable now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. While we're on the
Yeah.
topic, let me cook, right?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Right, Kuzan, right? He defected, and I don't think enough people are talking about this. Like the idea that the truth is starting to come out, the true history is coming out, right? And then during that, we see this thing called a mother flame, and the mother flame is kept in a liquid, right? So, and I've always said the reason why I believe the mother flame was used on Elysia being so close was because it's using the mother flame, and the more you use it, the further away you go, the more shit. We do not want that to happen because of flooding, which we now know is a key feature, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Kuzan somehow learned the truth. Like maybe he was asked, "Yo, can you cool down the mother flame with your fruit, your ice fruit, and we'll use it to destroy these nations." And that is the sort of truth that then Kuzan chose to defect from.
Yes.
And his opposite was Akainu, right? And Akainu, his reaction to Vegapunk's speech is like, oh, like he already knows this stuff. He literally says, "Oh, so you're going to tell?" So he obviously knows this stuff. He decided to not defect. So it gives us the two opposite reactions to the truth.
Yeah. And like the reason for their duel.
It cannot be the whole thing of the only for Sword to lead needs a Fleet Admiral, and that was his point of being quiet. And then once he couldn't do that, he had to do a different way to make the changes. I always felt it was because of Fleet Admiral. That was what he was gunning this whole time as a Sword member. The ultimate change. It's interesting. I do like the whole cooling down the mother flame, but it does seem that the moment that happened, he then gets recruited by Blackbeard, which I find is a very
even if he wasn't
weird
specifically asked to cool down the mother flame, if he had the information that they were working on this, and Akainu did as well, that could definitely be cause for them to fight each other over the position of power.
Yeah, and you mentioned about being picked up by Blackbeard, but I don't know, maybe finding out something is exactly what led him to accidentally on purpose put himself in a position where Blackbeard was going to find him. After
I'm
all,
not disagreeing.
we do suspect that Blackbeard has a connection to our government.
I do think the mother flame thing could have played a role. Could have played a role. It's just we even know now since Dressrosa, Akainu knows about Sword. On the way he talked about Kuzan, he resigned. That's a term that all Swords members use. Kuzan said that the word resign means when a Marine becomes Sword. So he's aware of it,
I think that like some of the stuff that you were saying about Kuzan not learning certain combat techniques, maybe he was learning Rokushiki and stuff like that. That probably ties into the truth. Like maybe it's not a matter of the mother flame. Maybe it's just like maybe it's just a general exposure over time to true elements, and he just gets a feeling that something isn't right, and then defects.
Yeah, and the fact that he joined. He's the only one. He's the only one who didn't go to the same training as the two other admirals, those kind of stuff, and he is now a pirate with Blackbeard. And X-Drake is a sword member, infiltrated as a pirate. And interesting enough, his father was actually a corrupt Marine that worked with pirates. So it kind of makes me think of, what if Kuzan, the reason why all of that is, he's a pirate who joined the Marines for a specific goal. That's why he didn't know Rokushiki. Had to learn by himself with Garp as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Like,
yeah,
we definitely don't know much about his backstory.
From Zimzid, it is canon. It has been revealed by Odyssey. It's canon. The fact that Zephyr trained both Aokiji and Kizaru in the Marines, but never trained Kuzan.
Yeah, and Kuzan obviously said when he was with her that he didn't know any Haki at that point, or he didn't. Yeah, I think.
Interesting thought, honestly. It's
But yeah, the painting stuff is definitely super relevant, I think, and very excited to find out where it goes. And it's nice that like like Kube and I talk about Lost, right? All the time. We both love the show, and we get to do that now because it's been years later and it's retrospective. And in One Piece, we've had stuff like that where you know you're not going to get answers, but this now all feels like we're going to get answers pretty soon. You know, like I'm not saying like Lily's eyes are going to move in the painting or something, but I feel like this is coming. Like the idea that the Iron Giant was revealed recently and said he was sorry. The fact that Zunisha was being punished. We've seen the Straw Hat and Marie-Joie, and now we're seeing the painting. That's four different potential crew members, maybe yours as well. Like maybe Ryuma as well. That would be six. Like potential crew members of Joy Boys. So I really feel like we're progressing and going to get some answers soon, hopefully.
Can't wait for them either. It's going to be so nice. With that, though, guys, I'm going to let you continue cooking, and I'm going to hop off. It's been a blast.
No worries.
No worries.
No worries.
There is a super chat over here from Mr. Bushido. He says the message is going to come back and reveal the truth of O'Hara. I also think the message comes back, but
okay.
I don't think it tells about O'Hara.
Yeah. Also,
before you leave,
yeah. Anyways, I was gonna offer, because we've been doing for a bit over 2 hours. I was gonna offer the last few talks before ending the stream. So.
Okay, that works out great.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up, right, is Bushido has been preaching hard about the fact that Smoker is pulling a cube behind him.
Yep.
Now, to me, it looks like a poneglyph. Bushido says he thinks it looks like a poneglyph, but it might not be a poneglyph. And if it was, what poneglyph would it be? And I was suggesting that maybe it's the one that was at Alabasta, because we heard there was loads of beef going on at Alabasta with the Marines. So I was curious to get your thoughts before you shut off, closed up.
Yeah,
if it is a poneglyph, what poneglyph?
There's an interesting line of thinking I got, because we heard he was going to see Vegapunk. Last we seen Spoker, and Vegapunk seems to have multiple sources of the history, like other than what O'Hara had. So I'm wondering if that's actually a poneglyph that Vegapunk got the information of Joy Boy from, and he's like, the island's going to be attacked soon. Get it out of here. Make sure it stays. Like, this is one of the key pieces to the history.
Very, very cool.
But also, would the box itself is kind of too small to be a poneglyph?
I'm not certain.
Okay.
That's just Smoker was heading to Vegapunk. Also, that was the first thoughts on it.
It would be impressive. We know that we've seen Jinbei move a poneglyph with some sea creatures and stuff, but driving, pulling a poneglyph like that
would be pretty nuts, yeah. And the panel right before it, we see it's actually kind of close to him, so the size isn't ideal, but there is precedent for it to be.
So what do we think it is?
I'm still leaning poneglyph.
No, I don't think it is.
But I'm not too, I won't die on that hill. The odd thing about it is the X. The X on it.
It could be just a model of the fate.
I do think it's something. Just the problem with the whole poneglyph is not the how big it is, or we cannot see the full size, but even the length of it on the side. It looks way, because even on the length of the poneglyph, it's long length. You've never seen a small poneglyph, so that's why for me is. I said as a joke, but it could be the case. That's what X-Drake is looking from inside the. Inside, that's X-Drake where X-Drake is. So that was as a joke. But...
that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious. He just casually in bed.
Yeah, he's inside a container. Actually, his hospital is inside a container.
I got a question though. How is Emu hearing this message? Do you think Emu got a video transponder snail set up, or do you think he can just hear it?
Yeah, I think it's just audio.
Do you think it's just in his head? He can hear this stuff, or do you think he actually got a snail set up?
No, we saw him having snails.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, it was hinted that
it is an interesting.
Yeah, the whole thing with the Dead and Mushi was for the video, because I'm pretty sure it works where people can actually hear his message directly. If I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong with that, but I think that was a special.
I think the idea is it hijacks all Dennet. Like if
okay.
if there's a Denden around you, then you
Yeah.
can receive the message. But I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know the. Yeah, I'm not.
The big thing about this one was the
Ridiculous.
fact it taps into all the military and public Denden mushies. Because we've had video transponder snails before, but they had to be like a projected stream, like in Punk Hazard when they were showing the experiments on the weapon. Like certain people could see that,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like forced onto everybody's screen like Vegapunk's message has been. Vegapunk's message has been like literally you can't not have this message playing if you have a Denden mushi. Another funny thing about it is the design of it is actually a Denden mushi with a tone dial from Skypiea on top of it.
That's pretty interesting.
It is very interesting. Like someone pointed it out, I was like, "Holy shit, it's a tone dial."
But
Yeah,
however,
Yeah.
this oh, sorry. I was just gonna say this also proves one thing. Now we know how. I've always said it's very weird how the revs get onto that. They do have a lot of stock of those, the dead mushis that they can hack on. Most likely Vegapunk helped them for that as well.
Oh
They
yeah,
always
that's
said
a good point.
they see almost every fleet has at least one.
The color-coded ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only Salboy makes sense because of how rushed they had to leave Lucia.
So does that mean Green Bull's got ties to the Revolutionary Army? He hacked these lines.
I mean, no. I was just saying that they seem to have a lot of the unhackable ones, the revs. That's what I think it was after Dressrosa who said it's impossible to hear a rev. So they were hitting that it's almost unhackable one. They could explain if Vegapunk did one that's hackable. Maybe he taught them the craft how to turn their dead and mushis into white ones or black ones, depending on the color.
Yeah, that would make sense to me. Like that he or whoever invented it, probably Vegapunk, shared it with some Dragon Vegapunk. Like,
yeah, that makes sense. They're already talking. We already see them talking. So,
but
I've always
also
wondered like how was they able to do that? Now we know why.
the Mushis are just creatures, so they could just breed why the Mushis have a lot of them breeding.
No. Then the mushies are made.
No, they're creatures. Remember
No. Frankie said that like he can like make one. It needs the snail, but it still needs to be made.
Yeah, it still needs to attach things to the snail, but the snail is a living thing. We saw that in Dressrosa.
Yeah, the snail's living, but it's not like born a phone or a video.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying you can breed the Mushis and then attach things to them.
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, also think about it. It could be also he understood how dials work, and what do we know about dials? They change on the flavor you fuse with. Could be that he found a way to put flavors into the dead mushis as well.
Well, if it's a legit tone dial, it means Vegapunk is interacting with Skytech, because the blue people don't really know. Like only very few blue sea people know about tone dials.
All my instincts tell me over the years that they're probably 1,000 years old, and they're probably all like 1,100 years old or something on this planet, and they changed things in a big way. Like I won't go into detail, but Clash of Civilizations from the 1500s talks about like the East and the West rises. There'll always be a war. Technology rises at different speeds and stuff, and I think the Dendens will be shown to have played a big part in the history.
Yeah,
definitely.
I do too.
There's such an OP. There's such an OP advantage.
Yeah.
So, anyways, guys, this was a great stream. So I'm gonna let we've been spinning for over 2 hours, and there was some cooking, and I'm happy that you were able to pull up when you pulled up because
perfect timing too. We just
perfect timing.
Like
literally,
gave the brief down of the painting.
Yeah, literally, you came at the time that we really needed you because you're the expert on the whole Lily stuff. So yeah. So obviously, before I end the stream and everything, I'm gonna let the goats, all of the goats here, tell you where they can find them. So I'll start with Denden Kushi because it's the most hardest person to find. Tell them where they can find you, bro.
So it's Denden Kushi on the YT. Monday is a theory featuring Straw Hat Lucas. It's actually his about Long Ring Long Round, which is Gear Piece. And then after that,
wow.
relevant to what we're doing today, we've got a video about coming out at the end of the week about the true history and how it affects young orphans in the One Piece world, basically, and how he moves status to control the world. So make sure you tune in. Thank you, Nat, for streaming today. Thank you, audience. You've been great. Bushido, thank you for the super chats. TLA loves everyone, and much love and peace.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man. So, well, Josh, how can the people find you?
Yeah, I'm usually hanging around the TLA server. Anyone is welcome to join in and speed.
Love
Yeah,
it.
you can find me every 2 weeks on Lucas's channel on Group 14, the best group there is. And
One Piece indeed.
yeah, soon there might be a theory coming out or not. It could be next 5 years or so.
It's fire, though. It's fire.
Nice one.
Trust us.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of the big ones.
It's gonna be
One
around.
of the big ones.
It's either gonna be tomorrow or in around 5 months.
Yeah. One or the other.
Yeah.
It's about
Obviously,
chocolate.
I'm not gonna ask 3Day to unmute. You know where you can find 3Day. 3Day is everywhere, as usual. You know, you can find her on
Yeah, show
in
us some
TLA, in
listeners.
Power Vision, and DAG. So you know,
Follow her on
just
Twitter.
yeah, man. Just write 3Day in any live stream, One Piece live stream, and she'll appear like Beetlejuice.
If you
So,
want to keep up on One Piece news and releases, she's all over the Twitter stuff, much
Yeah.
more than other people I know.
Yeah,
yeah,
you can
coming.
join our server and you'll find her doing her updates and being a mod alongside the rest of the TLA members. So yeah, and again, thank you for streaming.
Yeah,
My
It
pleasure.
sounds like it's been
Yeah, and well, Knack, up to you now. Tell them the people where they can find you.
If you'd like to see what I'm up to, I guess you could follow me over on Twitter at NackD. But aside from that, I don't have a lot of socials. I'm always in the Discord though. If we want to talk on any theory, I'll make time. I just love hearing it. I love hearing theories. I love hearing storytelling aspects. Any theory too. We can talk any story. I love it. But it's been a fun stream. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Yeah, man.
peace.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. See you at the next one, guys. See ya.
Bye.
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 Okay, I ended the stream.
Cool.